What is going on, everybody? John out here with you. This is a huge contest tonight. I'm going to be joined by none other than Cooper Hopkins. It is the Calgary Flames and the Colorado Avalanche. Let me give you the starting lineup. So it's Elias Lindholm, Dillon Dube, Toffoli, Noah Hanifin, and Rasmus Andersson. We'll start this one more time. So Elias Lindholm, Dillon Dube, Toffoli, Noah Hanifin, and Rasmus Andersson with Nazem Kadri, Jacob Peltier, Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, Chris Tanev, Mikael Backlund, Andrew Mangiapane, Blake Coleman, with Trevor Lewis, Milan Lucic, and Walker Dewar. Nikita Zadorov and Dennis Gilbert will be on the back end defense, and Jacob Markstrom is going to get the start in that tonight. The Calgary Flames are 27-20-12. It was a heartbreaker the last time that we guys joined you on Thursday, so we're going to follow back up here with the Flames. They had a lead going into the third period against the Vegas Golden Knights, but they ended up persevering in overtime, and they got the 4-3 victory. And on the other side for the Colorado Avalanche, no names sometimes, no problem. It's 32-19-5 on the season. Nathan MacKinnon, Artturi Lehkonen, Valeri Nichushkin with Sam Girard and Devon Toews, JT Compher, Evan Rodriguez, Mikko Rantanen with Bowen Byram, and Josh Manson. It's Alex Newhook, Dennis Mulligan, Logan O'Connor, Matt Nieto, Andrew Cogliano, and Brad Hunt. It's going to be Andreas Englund and Curtis McDermott on the back-end defense for Jared Bednar's squad, and Alexander Georgiev is going to get the start in net for the Avalanche. They are 32-19-5. Why is this one so critical? And I'm sure that we're going to be talking about this when Cooper Hopkins does join in, but I got some notes in front of me for the pregame to give to you here in the sense of the Colorado Avalanche are 32-19-5. They have 69 points. They're in wild card 2 with 3 games in hand. Who's outside wild card 2? It's the Calgary Flames with 66 points, 3 games outside, and they have a couple games ahead of Colorado. So this is a little run DMC matchup. Down with the king. You want to be down with the king here, you got to beat them. And that's what the Calgary Flames have in front of them right now. They got to take this team out and stop them from gaining points because Seattle Kraken have fallen into a wild card spot. Colorado Avalanche as well. Calgary Flames got tons of time to do so, but as we said with the schedule and everything else upcoming, that can make some things difficult. But here's the thing I'll say about all of that. When you have these types of matchups in front of you, especially in the regular season, most teams got about 24 games or less left to go on the season. You don't need any extra energy to get up for games like these. And if you do, you really need to check your pulse because there's just something wrong on that side. So for Darryl Sutter, he's going to go with Jacob Markstrom, 15, 14, and 7 on the season with 293 goals against, an 889 save percentage after back-to-back starts from Dan Vladar. Alexander Georgiev on the year, 24, 12, and 2. With a 268, 918 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Scratches, Brett Ritchie, Connor Mackey, and Adam Ruzicka. Injuries, Michael Stone, lower body injury. He's been out for several games. No scratches for Colorado to report, but for Colorado, the injuries continue to mount. It's kind of the same names from the last time that I pasted them in. These are all week to week. So Darren Helm, Cale Makar, Josh Manson, Eric Johnson, that's 3 defensemen. Still without captain Gabriel Landeskog, who has not played a game this year. And Pavel Francouz is also week to week for Colorado. So when we come back, it'll be puck drop. I'm looking forward to it, guys. This is a big contest. Stick with me. Talk to you soon.
You done yet? It's 2 a.m. Why are you still scrolling through videos? You're not paying me overtime here. If you really want to see something new, why not choose those shapes that have been broken for the past 2 years? Let's tap the Thumbtack app, and in a matter of seconds, we'll find a problem to install new shades. Okay. With Thumbtack, you can easily find top-rated professionals for every home project. Thumbtack, the easy way to care for your home.
So we are getting the festivities really underway. We're going to get both of the Anthems for Canada and the United States as we're at Ball Arena. John on here with you. I might have to start the play-by-play, but I know I'm going to be joined by Cooper Hopkins momentarily. Cannot tell you again how big of a game this is. And for Calgary, it's about 6 games in a row of this, but nothing more bigger than tonight because, again, the Avalanche are the team that's in WC2, and the Flames are trying to claw their way back into that point. If I had to go ahead and pick, I think I'd say the obvious statement of who's going to win tonight as far as the Avalanche, but I will say this. There is not a game that's any bigger for Calgary right now, more so even than Colorado, because they've been very hot of late. If you want to go exactly how, 12-2-2 in the last 16 games for the Avalanche. So when I talked about it maybe about 3.5 weeks ago, some people chose not to believe this, but again, I think the joke's on everyone else who didn't or just not paying attention, that I think the Colorado Avalanche are going to come all the way back and they're going to win this Central Division. Why do I say that? Because Dallas, Winnipeg, and Minnesota, all within 72, 71, and 70 respectively, they have 59 games played after tonight. And the Colorado Avalanche at 57, at 69 points, they're right on the precipice. They're already not knocking on the door. I think they're going to go ahead and set to tear it down. So as Dallas, as Winnipeg, and Minnesota have kind of floundered a little bit, Colorado shot all the way up the standings, and they've not looked back. So what I'm thinking about in the sense of trying to get healthy by March, and I've talked about that a few times with Colorado, and it makes a lot of sense. They're going to be at that point, but they're also going to be way ahead in the standings from what people expected. It wasn't even that long ago, a couple of months ago, when I was doing an ascent with Alec Malva and Redbox and those guys, and Redbox was saying that he thinks Colorado's a fallen dynasty. I don't know how you can be after just 1 year. Didn't think they were going to make it. When you have about 16 people out at one time, that made it hard. But the thing for Colorado, especially in December and January, they stayed at or above 500. They did not falter. And that's what allowed them to stay in this point. And as they continue to get healthy, hopefully they get Cale Makar back, and then they'll figure out exactly what kind of team that they have. And I think that we all know what kind of team that is, a team that's very capable of defending Lord Stanley. So Nazem Kadri and Nathan MacKinnon and a ceremonial puck drop here at Ball Arena right now. So it's going to probably start in another 5 or 6 minutes or so as we're celebrating Black History Month with a ceremonial puck drop. We have a few other ceremonies going on at Ball Arena right now, but it's a really nice sight. But again, these two teams, can't say it anymore. I think that there's going to be a lot of intrigue, and I know it was very early in the season. And if I say very early in the season, I'm also saying game 1. And we'll just click this really quick as I'm waiting for the game to start here. In the sense of October 13th, when they started the season at the Saddle Dome, it was a 5-3 win for the Calgary Flames. They have not played since then. And Calgary started 7-3 on the year. And Cooper and I, even with some of the moves, and we're thinking this is going to be the time they're going to still kind of pick off. And as we've said, Calgary's been nothing more than lukewarm since that point. So we're going to have to see if Jacob Markstrom is going to be able to fit the bill, because both goalies, Dan Vladar and Jacob Markstrom, Dan Vladar got 2 straight starts. They're sitting in the 880s as far as their save percentage, and that's got to increase. A team like Colorado can score with the best of them. They've been averaging about 5 or 6 over this last 12-2-2 stretch. So should be a big contest, and I'm looking forward to it as the anthems are really underway. We're going to go around the league here shortly, too, in the sense of it. What I'm keeping my eyes on, I think this was going to go final anyway at some point, but there's still 12:52 left. The Lightning are up 2-0 on the Detroit Red Wings. Andrei Vasilevsky is carrying Tampa right now, and that's the reason why they have that lead, because the Red Wings were out shooting the Lightning as they check on the third period about 35-14. The Stars and Golden Knights are also underway. That's at 0. And then we will go around the league the rest of the way. But the nightcap games that we have in between the Stars, Golden Knights, the Lightning, and the Red Wings, what we have now between the Avalanche and the Flames, these are some monumental ones. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I appreciate anyone that bounces in between Twitter Spaces John out here with you. I'm going to stick the whole way through and then give the game story hopefulsportsguy.wordpress.com.
And bright stars through the sky. For the ramparts we watch, who so gallantly swing, and the rockets red glare upon thirsty and naked prove through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the...
Well, hopefully they give credit again to the national anthem singer at Ball Arena for the Colorado Avalanche, because she absolutely nailed it on both of those, as we're getting some of the simulated jet flyover and all the pregame festivities at Ball Arena. This is a humongous game. I can't say that any more lightly, and this is back-to-back opportunities here for the Flames to bank points. And this time, this is a spot to get into the wildcard spot and get very close to it and try to pull the Avalanche down. This isn't just a 2-point swing. This is a 4-point swing. This is an 8-point swing here, on the sense of it. Take points away, and that's what you want to do for the Calgary Flames. So Jacob Markstrom, 15, 14, and 7, his 39th start on the year. Alexander Georgiev on the other end, 24, 12, and 4 with a 2.67 goals against. We're going to get set to get underway here at Ball Arena, as you're going to look at Nazem Kadri. Everybody going to get set to meet at center ice. I am very much looking forward to this contest. Again, I'm expected to be joined by Cooper Hopkins as we can go in between the play-by-play and color respectively. I can't say again how monumental this game is. We'll keep bringing this up throughout this contest. Let me get Cooper Hopkins in here right now, as we're going to get set for puck drop. So we're at Ball Arena. Calgary Flames are going to be going left to right as Nazem Kadri will play the pivot off the back pass, try to set it up, and Georgiev with a couple right pad saves as Toffoli had an opportunity to score right away. And pick it up now near the left dot is Nazem Kadri. Kadri trying to keep alive on the forehand. We'll just play this to an empty left side faceoff dot. As this is skated around the end boards for Mackenzie Weegar and Dillon Dube. We'll try to get around to it, but Rasmus Andersson will pinch in near the right side boards now. Rasmus, he's being bothered by Devon Toews, as there's also another Avalanche in the way as Elias Lindholm will find it. We'll wrap this around the end boards as we'll go D to D, try to a slap pass. And this will be an opportunity here for the Avalanche. And Nathan MacKinnon, you got to watch out for number 29, but he's just going to go ahead and flip it in as it bounces off of Markstrom. And now Noah Hanifin can take his time in behind the net. So Darryl Sutter is going to go with Jacob Markstrom after Dan Vladar got back-to-back starts. So this is a big game here for Jacob Markstrom, a monumental game here for the Flames. They want to try to play the way they did in the beginning of October in Game 1, but it's been a long time since then right now, as most teams have about 24 games left on the year. Mangiapane now for Backlund. He's been one of the best players all season. As he gets taken away, this gets knocked out of the zone. Mikko Rantanen trying to bother, and this goes across now as the Avalanche and Evan Rodriguez will flip this one in for Jacob Markstrom. Now Nikita Zadorov try to get across the red line. Now Milan Lucic will gain the entry with Trevor Lewis. Lewis will wrap this around here for Lucic as he's trying to use that big body there with Walker Dewar. As this will go back around the end boards, Lucic will get to it as one of the Avalanche do not have a stick that is Hunt, as he's just trying to kick it away from Trevor Lewis, but this will be picked up by the Maroon and Cerulean as this goes back around for Cogliano. And now O'Connor lost it in between his skates. Again, he's just going to have to gain the entry and go ahead and take a change as Cogliano was trying to turn on the jet engine, as he definitely has. In the fourth line side, as Tanev was being bothered, but Flames will get this one out ahead as Nazem Kadri. Nice tip off the inboards to himself. He's going to try to toe drag it toward the right side of the red line. Rasmus Andersson into the traffic. Georgiev trying to find this pocket. It's Nazem Kadri. He's just stuck in between Gergiev. And now he's going to get it back near the right dot. And Rasmus Andersson will fire this over the glass. What's going on, Cooper?
Well, John, first I have to start off with an apology. I'm sorry for my late arrival here for the tardiness, but we already have some action going on here in the first 2 minutes, and I know you've mentioned it, but I'm keeping an eye on number 91 in white, Nazem Kadri. He's been all over it. He was even in the net for a little while behind Gorgiev.
Yes, he was. I think both teams right now, they are sensing the emotion of the moment. I think you have to, especially for Calgary. You want to take advantage of this back-to-back here for Colorado, but they absolutely smoked the Jets last night, 5-1. And now this is another huge game because, again, both of these teams are trying to get that same spot as Dillon Dube. Put this into the offensive end. Now a race for Elias Lindholm, but O'Connor bumped him off the pocket. Now Devon Toews will pick it up with the pass ahead here for Nathan MacKinnon, trying to drop it here for Toews as it's flipped up in the air. Dennis Gilbert's going to be quick about this, and he'll get this across the right side faceoff dot, but here's Nathan MacKinnon off the forehand series of drags and scores! Nathan MacKinnon puts the Avalanche on the board first.
Well, John, this is not the start you want if you're a Calgary Flames fan, but you know what? You do, and I say this a lot. I use the phrase tip your cap and credit where it's due. Both of those phrases apply right there to number 29 in cerulean and blue. Classic Nathan MacKinnon right there. So agile on his skates, and that stick handling, boy, second to none right there. He makes Dennis Gilbert look pretty bad right there, and Markstrom gives up one after just one shot.
I don't know how you stop that one. Again, it's just if you're Dennis Gilbert, you got to make sure you get rid of that puck a little quicker. You can't put it on the stick on that side of that man, number 29. So while the first goal and the first shot 7 times this season of the Flames. So not the start that they wanted, but again, they have to continue to knock that out of their mind right now. They got a game to play. In the middle, the slot rang the bar and went out of play. My goodness.
Yeah, boy, I was holding my breath right there, John, fully expecting you to have to make a goal call because just like Rasmus Andersson's shot from a couple of nights ago against the Vegas Golden Knights, and that snapshot from about 20 feet out had gone about 2 inches lower, it'd be 2-0 right now.
That was Mikko Rantanen. So we talked about in our last game a couple of days ago, not giving good players in the middle of the slot opportunities to shoot. How about Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen getting the first couple chances? That's got to change. 3:05, 21st of the season from Valeri Nichushkin off the face-off win, but this will go for the Flames here for a race to the puck, and Blake Coleman can get to it. Good job off the backhand. Here's Mangiapane off the stutter step looking for a deflection. That one goes just wide toward the right side of the dot. And another Colorado Avalanche does not have a stick. This goes all the way back to Rasmus Andersson. So it's 2-1. Colorado's got the 1 goal courtesy of Nathan MacKinnon. Again, he is very, very dangerous. You talk about Connor McDavid. You got to mention Nathan MacKinnon in that same sentence. It's Nazem Kadri trying to pick this up beforehand near the left side boards, and a couple of stick lift battles. Good work there by Devon Toews to try to get a piece of it. As this is chance for Lindholm now. Huberdeau patient in behind the net. Maybe I thought he might try to flip it. He'll center out a pass in front. As this will go to Tanev. Tanev, he just fires it way wide as Huberdeau tries to get a stick on it. But again, Devon Toews able to cancel off Huberdeau. Even though Huberdeau's got that size, is Kadri trying to apply this loose here with Jacob Peltier. This is back here for Huberdeau. Off his forehand, see if I'll wrap it around. He got dumped down a little bit. Tanev trying to put this D to D, and Kadri was near the tip, near the left side of the red line, but this will get flipped down by the Avalanche. So now Lucic will send it back here to Mackenzie Weegar. 15-15 left to go in the first. John out here with you on play-by-play, joined by Cooper Hopkins. I'm sure we're going to be switching off at the moment. We're just really looking forward to this game. Again, hopeful that we can have some happier times here for Cooper Hopkins and myself, because, again, that last game was a little bit of a heartbreaker as this one goes up in the players' bench at 15:03.
Yeah, John, it was. It was a tough pill to swallow, and I think we both did a pretty good job trying to maintain some level of professionalism. But it's going to be an interesting game tonight. As action's going to resume here momentarily, but the Avalanche do look strong early on. They have that 1-goal lead courtesy of MacKinnon. Flames need to answer back in this first period.
So Lewis will get the neutral zone face-off against MacKinnon, and this will be chipped in deep. Milan Lucic tries to get there, as this will go around here. Dryden Hunt will play this here for Matt Nieto, and now it's Nieto and Hunt from a MacKinnon pass, and Hunt will gain the entry, as this will be played quickly by Jacob Markstrom. And that's exactly what you got to do if you're Calgary. You got to be judicious on those breakouts and make sure you support. Can't have any other spots that you had in the first period where you had Rantanen and MacKinnon with shots. You got to be quick about what you're going to do. As Dennis Mulligan. Now for Nathan MacKinnon, he'll just gain the red line. And again, Jacob Markstrom will go back to play this one. This one is a little bit more contested, but another quick pass for Elias Lindholm. As this gets flipped from Dube to Toffoli, going to have to try to put on the burners as he'll take a hit, release Byram from the puck, and the Flames will move this around the end boards. Rasmus Andersson going to turn all the way around as this will get picked up here by Toffoli, but then he got canceled off with the body nicely. As Nathan MacKinnon will peel back into the neutral zone with a good outstretched pass, but this was lost in between the skates for Logan O'Connor. And now the Flames on the attack off the backhand is Blake Coleman. He actually backhanded and played it off his stick up in the air. And we'll see if this stays with the Flames. And now he'll try to glove it down and sit in front of the crease. But now, Alex Newhook, he definitely has some jets as he picks this up near the left side of the wall. But the left-hander lost the puck. And Mangiapane, that passed a little too hard off the end boards. But Chris Tanev, thankfully for the Flames, was there to had to pick it up in time as this almost gets intercepted. Now Tanev going to have to race back toward a left face-off dot and just dump this across the red line. His Backlund will get a piece of it. Now Gergia will play it. Drop it back to the defense now. Very busy in behind the net as this goes across the red line and picked up by the Flames with big Nikita Zadorov. You can always tell when he's got the puck with that size as this is banked. And one of the Flames try to catch up to it as Jonathan Huberdeau might now actually get a piece of it. This bounces off his skates. Good support by Kadri. But now this will be a puck for the Colorado Avalanche, but not before they step off sides with 12:54, and that could have been dangerous.
Yeah, John, there's plenty of time here in the first, and the Flames do seem to have some jump in their game right now, but don't have a lot of, where have you heard this story before, don't seem to have had a ton of clean looks at goal. They've gotten the puck down low into the low slot crease area, but it's just been kind of bouncing around, and even though they've established the ozone a couple of times, there hasn't been a really extensive presence there to establish their offensive game. So, this is very similar to what we've said in a lot of the games we've covered. When it comes to the Flames, that they just need to settle in, play their game. Often, we talked about this the other night when we covered the Flames against the Vegas Golden Knights. Often we'll see the Flames kind of take hold in the first period. Interestingly, that is yet to happen here. I wouldn't say, even though the score is 1-0, that the ice is completely tilted in favor of Colorado. I mean, that was just a beautiful, skilled play by Nathan MacKinnon right there. Just a joy to watch that goal, even though I'm on the other side of it. But, it's going to be very telling here in the next 4 or 5 minutes or so if the Flames can grab some of that momentum that they seem to get early. That's sort of been missing.
Yes, it is. And again, with the Avalanche up the back-to-back, the official, unofficial Joe Rogan, I know he likes to comment on the Twitter Spaces side. He said, my system made me bet Calgary, but I think it might be a bad bet. The Avs are tired, but we'll wonder how this game is going to go. And yeah, I think Cooper and I are going to wonder that as well, because this is a game that's very big. You have the Colorado Avalanche in the second wildcard spot right now. The Flames are 3 points out. If they get a win in regulation right now, they can claw back within one. So back-to-back critical games, Cooper Hopkins, here for the Calgary Flames. So Nazem Kadri is getting an ovation and a video right now from the Colorado Avalanche, and very well deserved for the Stanley Cup champion. I will make no bones about it. One of my favorite players in the NHL, as he's getting a standing ovation from his teammates and the fans at Ball Arena. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely well deserved. He taps his chest near his heart right there to say thank you to these fans. I know they appreciate everything that he did to help bring the Stanley Cup back to Denver, and what a special time he had as an Av. And the Flames are certainly enjoying him on the roster now. What a great player.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, a second-line center, but you would think of that in name only. Even though he's getting a little bit older here, he's still been able to bring a lot of the production as he immediately throws the body on Alex Newhook. And this is a pickup here for Jacob Peltier as he tries to move this around the inboards. It bounces off the backside of Gergia, but no trouble here for the Avs as they'll try to go right to left. And now this will be a drop for Nichushkin. MacKinnon off the give and go. That was 3 tic-tac-toe passes in a row, and the last one couldn't be converted. That would have been another goal for Nathan MacKinnon, most likely, as Nichushkin will play this in behind his legs And now spin this around the end board. So you can clearly see, even though the shots are 1-to-1, and I'll try to reiterate this on the radio side call of the skill that the Avalanche have as Dube falls down, but this will stay here again with the Flames, and they'll try to break out one more time as it's Tanev and Hanifin. Hanifin has it now off his forehand. He's just trying to look for a pass, as this is trying to get materialized to Mangiapane, but there were so many Avalanche there as Bowen Byram. Actually, he lost it. He got a stick on it momentarily. Mangiapane will try to send a back pass, but that was way too soft. And this is going to allow the Avalanche to gain the entry for O'Connor. O'Connor trying to find Newhook. He'll slap shot this around the end boards. And oh my goodness, that goes in the net. And the Avalanche are up 2-0. I don't even know what to say about that one.
Yeah, John, this reminds me, other than the fact that it wasn't deflected, it reminds me of the Mikael Backlund goal from a couple nights ago. The puck came in from the half boards to the goaltender's right, so Markstrom's right shoulder side. And that was just a rebounded shot, or puck, I should say, full slap shot, basically a kind of unplanned one-timer that goes right through Rasmus Andersson, who was standing at the top of the crease. I don't even think Markstrom saw it, and neither of us really saw it during the play either, John, but all that matters, 2 shots, 2 goals, and it's starting to slip away from the Flames now.
Man, because as soon as that puck banked off the left side of the boards, that was really the only play that was there. And the slap shot off my look was incredibly lifted, and it was a great shot. And now here come the Avalanche again. It's 2 shots, 2 goals. And if things kind of swing one way, I would hate to say about Dan Vladar, but you kind of think you want to get that ready. I mean, this is a game that you have to have, or at least keep close enough. As Lewis will pick this up now near the right side dot. And really, you have to say it that way. As this is picked up now for Lucic, this will cycle back to the D off the backhand. And now this will be a chance for Dewar off of his forehand. Now for Weegar, he'll fire. Lucic was the tree in front. And again, another Avalanche stick out of the hand as Georgiev makes the save.
Yeah, that's a nice shot right on there by Gilbert, and he fired a great wrister. Lucic with a bit of a screen, looking for a deflection as well. Couldn't get his stick on the puck, and Georgiev, nice positioning right there to keep it out. So only the Flames' second shot, but they have a ton of work to do here, John, and the Avalanche look, even though they're on a back-to-back, to have a lot of spark tonight. The Flames are going to have to do something to turn this around.
When we talk about all the injuries, I know you and I know this, but I tried to dictate this from the beginning. As far as the pregame, doesn't matter about all the injuries here for Colorado. They're 12-2-2 in their last stretch, and they've been scoring about 5 a game. So you know what they can bring. Compher set up off the one-timer, and that one was just wide for Rantanen, and that was another dangerous chance near the right side dot. Seems like every time the Avalanche touch this puck, they're in a good area to shoot. And now Zadorov, he gets lifted. And now we'll see if the Avalanche can quickly screen down the other way. It's Mikko Rantanen, as this is sauced nicely out of the air for Compher off the give and go. Tic-tac-toe passing. Gerard, stop on the right pad of Markstrom. Now in behind the net, tapped out of the air. Rantanen can't finish. Calgary just needs to get this out of the zone right now. But this stays with Gerard. Now in the high slot, another opportunity, as that was patted aside by Markstrom. This bounces off the referee, but only goes to the neutral zone. My goodness gracious, as Jacob Pelche has to play this one back. We still got 9:50 left to go in the first. I don't know if I'm going to make it the whole way. As Lindholm spins this around the end boards, and this goes all the way back to Tanev, but it's not iced. It's Hanifin now, has to pick this up. He's got to get rid of it quickly. Good defense there by the Avs as they get a stick lift battle, but a lazy backhanded pass. This is going to allow Tyler Toffoli try to get down this toward the left wing, but Colorado was there to go ahead and pick this up, as now it's Lehkonen, former Montreal Canadian. He's got that long extension from Joe Sakic with Valeri Nichushkin, Dallas Stars as well. He just keeps on adding as this goes back off of a bounce off the Flames, and now this will be picked up by Lindholm. See if Lindholm can try to make something happen as they'll gain the red line. Toffoli was holding just in case he went back there, and this is played in between the legs. Mangiapane trying to provide the forecheck against Bowen Byram, and this will be passed back for Sam Girard. But Mangiapane, great job as he's able to buy some time, but he's still got to get rid of this puck as this is put back to D, away from Nathan MacKinnon. And now the Colorado Avalanche with JT Compher, as this was picked up from O'Connor, now played toward Backlund. Backlund will flip this in, will allow the Flames to chase for it, but Bowen Byram gets a chance to settle it down. 4-2. 8:30 left to go in the first, and Alex Newhook off his forehand, off the drop toward the right side dot, and Markstrom will swallow it up.
Yeah, a nice simple save right there by Jacob Markstrom, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered. You just need to do something fundamental, and he made a nice fundamental NHL goaltender save right there. And I hate to say it, it seems like a low bar to clear, but that's one that he needed to. The Flames were very, very, very close, John, to giving up goal number 3 just a couple minutes ago in this period. The puck was all over the crease. It was Jacob Markstrom's right. He made a good call. He did make a save off of his right pad, but it almost seems like he was just sort of there. He just happened to be in that spot, and the puck happened to bounce off of his right toe. And boy, the Avs really are passing so crisply and confidently tonight. And John, this is one thing that we're going to continue to look at throughout this broadcast. The Avalanche are displaying what I think the Flames are missing overall as a unit, and that is just team chemistry. The Avalanche are showing what they have built over a number of years here. Of course, we're aware that players come in, they leave the roster, they move on to other cities and other squads, but the Avalanche have a foundation of chemistry, and their decision-making results in really crisp, quick play. Everyone's in the right spot, seemingly at the right time. And sometimes, John, that's just not the case with Calgary.
No, it hasn't been. I mean, there's games where there is feast or famine. Look, you can have great games against lower tier competition, and that's great. You got to get the points when you can get it. But the way the Avalanche are moving the puck, as you just talked about, I mean, they look like an all-star team all amongst themselves. And oh, by the way, and during the all-star game, you had the same line of the Colorado Avalanche where you had Makar, Rantanen, and MacKinnon all on the same line, and you can definitely see why, Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to love about this Avalanche team, and it's a team that you made a bold prediction about a couple of nights ago, and the way they're playing tonight, it looks, my friend, like you are right on. I mean, the trajectory that Colorado's on right now, they are headed to the stratosphere yet again, and I don't think any team is going to want to face them if they can put this kind of quality on the ice.
Absolutely not. So they scored their first goal in the last 15 to 17 games. They're 12-2-2 in that stretch in which they talked about. And this is with a modicum of injuries, as we've talked about as well. So the Flames will win the defensive zone draw. I think the next goal is absolutely critical. I know that goes without saying, but this has to be for the Flames right now. Alexander Georgiev, you could talk about a 1A, 1B situation per usual with the Avalanche, but still, with the firepower and defense that Colorado can provide, that's all you really need. As this try to get picked up here by Dewar, and now Lucic toward the left side of the dot. Lucic still trying to pry this through, but look at that puck possession again there for the Avalanche. Attention to detail as they support each other toward the right side of the boards, and now MacKinnon will try to get this here for Rantanen, but a good block there by the Flames. This will go back to Samuel Girard. Girard tries to make a pass near the left side dot as Jacob Pelchier will pick it up. He'll turn off the pivot. He'll make a pass that just bounces right back to him, essentially. And now Tanev will wrap this around the inboards with Jonathan Huberdeau. It's Bowen Byram off the Kadri steal, but that was only for a moment, as now this is battled near to the left dot. Try to get centered out here for Kadri. Can't get a piece of it as there's too much traffic out in front of him. And now Logan O'Connor, he's had the wheels. This is a nice drop pass as this gets picked up by the Flames, but it's 1-on-3. So I have to see if they can just try to move this puck around here as Dillon Dube just trying to buy as much time as possible. But an excellent job as Elias Lindholm able to get that in between the legs. But a beautiful sauce pass as this gets flipped in from O'Connor to MacKinnon and back down the ice for Dennis Gilbert. So Gilbert now play this off the forehand as he looks for a pass that goes off the left side of the inboards. It's Elias Lindholm trying to find Toffoli's stick for the deflection, but this will get picked up by Artturi Lehkonen, bounced up on a play.
Yeah, John, a couple of good sequences right there for the Flames, and then this is the difference we were talking about just a moment ago. They are just not able to connect passes in the same way that the Avalanche are, and that's in part not necessarily by any failure of the Flames, but the Avs D-men are doing a great job of getting back and getting into lanes to stop the Flames from connecting any cross-ice passes in the O-zone.
Yes, they are, and I'm taking a look now off of a replay. Somebody get hooked in the face. Mangiapane was able to deliver one. I did not get a number on it. It might have been Hunt for the Avalanche. He's checking his chicklets.
Yes, he is. He looks a little worse for wear, and I'll try to get a confirmation on who exactly that is. But yeah, I think we may have some teeth on the ice. I'm hoping we can get those in a glass of milk. I might want those back.
So Mikael Backlund with Nathan MacKinnon as my broadcast partner got me on that one. That was a good one. So Nathan MacKinnon now will get this into the neutral zone, and now here's an opportunity. MacKinnon in full flight. There was shot to the 5-hole and stopped by Jacob Markstrom. Boy, oh boy, Nathan MacKinnon. He's looking like his Stanley Cup final self, Cooper.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He is flying through the neutral zone, John. And Noah Hanifin, who's a defender for the Flames that I've actually really liked of late, did not do a great job of checking number 29 right there. And it was, again, almost 3-0 Colorado a moment ago.
So another defensive zone draw here. So it's 6 out of 8 for Markstrom. And again, I imagine it's going to have to be a lot more. On pace for first career 100-point season for Nathan MacKinnon. Again, that's very hard to believe, but it's only been one. But Colorado has had a steady bevy of players and system that they've been able to use from year to year as we get icing.
Yeah, and the Flames right there, they immediately ice the puck, so they'll keep their current players on. And I do have to apologize to you, John. I didn't mean to surprise you with that.
Oh, that was funny. I liked it.
Comment. But, when the Flames are down 2-0 this early against a team as good as Colorado, I got to find a way to keep myself in a positive spirit. So I just put a little extra comedy on it tonight.
No, as we said after the last one, we might all need a drink, and maybe, hell, I'll join in with you, even though I usually don't, as this will be picked up now for Mackenzie Weegar and now Tanev, and this will be almost a turnover, and now this will be an opportunity here for the Avalanche as Mikko Rantanen. As Compher in behind the net has Mikko again as he plays this in toward the right side of the forehand. Mangiapane will play this back here for Dennis Gilbert. That was some good tic-tac-toe passing into the neutral zone, and now the Flames are trying for a little too much of a hopeful one there in the offensive end for Blake Coleman, as there wasn't really room. And now Mikko Rantanen will play this near the right side. Nikita Zadorov will take a look as this goes back. He's going to hold it now off the forehand. 5:35 left to go in the first. John, I'm here with you. As Nikita Zadorov, he's still with the puck. He gains the offensive entry, but this falls back to Georgiev.
Boy, interesting moment right there. And you know what? We talk a lot about number 91, Nazem Kadri for the Flames, but let's talk about number 16, Nikita Zadorov. We can't forget he spent some time with the Colorado Avalanche and made some nice playoff runs with the Avs. So I guess he's got a little extra, a little pep in his step, and he took that in like he was a centerman, John. He just busted through the neutral zone and created a nice chance right there. Ultimately, the puck bounces off his skate and gently back to the Avs netminder, but a good job by big number 16 for Calgary, who again is a blue liner.
Yes,
flying into the ozone right there.
Yes, he looked good on that one, and we'll see if the Flames. I'll say this: like, we know what the next goal's got to be, Cooper, and I think we both agree on that side. It's got to be for Calgary if they want to be able to keep things going here. But settle stuff down here in the first period, maybe draw within one. I know that's the cliche thing that I always like to throw out there, but it seems like they kind of settled down a little bit. But Colorado, as you know, they can erupt at any moment.
Yeah, it's true. You know what? I'll expand on that by saying, okay, first of all, I absolutely agree with you. I think both teams are pretty settled in here. You can clearly say that about Colorado. They were ready to go from the jump. They started on time, as some coaches like to say in the NHL, and the Flames did not. But now we're into the groove of the game, I think, and the next goal, of course, is going to be critical. But you know what? It almost looks like a reversal here where the Avs are the fresher team, it seems, even though they're the ones on the back-to-back, and the Flames had the extra day off standard on the schedule to get some rest and gather their wits. But they have a lot of work to do, don't they, John?
Yes, they do. I know one of the other questions that's going on across the YouTube side, how's Tyler Toffoli doing here tonight? Again, I think for a lot of the Flames, it's just trying to get a foothold here. So we can't really speculate too much for Calgary yet, but they seem to be able to try to at least do that. And they're showing Cale Makar on the CBC Sportsnet feed because we got Hockey Night in Canada right now, just trying to get some skates in again. It would just be good again, Cooper, to see Cale Makar back out on the ice, would it not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whether or not you're a fan of the Avs, he's one of the best players in the world, point blank. So, you know, what's interesting right now, John, is that the Flames are coming back out of this media timeout with a power play. McDermott's in the box for hooking.
So McDermott got busted for a hook, and I honestly didn't even see it, but this will be here for the Flames. So it's 8 shots to 3. Colorado's got a pair of goals. We'll see what the Flames can do on the first power play. It'll be the first power play across the board for anyone. This Tyler Toffoli will slap shot this thing around the inboards. And this will go toward the left side where this gets picked up by Nichushkin. But Rasmus Andersson able to intercept off the backhand, and Devon Toews will take it one more time and backhand this across the red line where this will touch the stick of Markstrom. So about $1:20 left to go in the Calgary power play. 4:50 left to go in this first. John out here within the play-by-play, joined by Cooper, Hopkins, and Color, but I'm sure going to be switching off as that was a couple of windmill moves there for Nazem Kadri. He was feeling himself, but he couldn't collect the puck, but Toffoli able to get a steal near the left side of the faceoff dot, a diagonal pass there to Rasmus Andersson, and this goes D to D, and it gets fired wide, picked up now by Nazem off the carom, and a one-time slap shot for Elias Lindholm, but he just missed the net. He got all of it, but he wasn't accurate, as this will stay in Kadri and tight near the left side dot. Lindholm makes the same pass, and then they go for the one-timer again, but too much traffic, as this is picked up now for the Flames. Toffoli will try to center this here for Huberdeau and behind the net, and they can't hold the blue line, as this will go back. Jacob Markstrom will play this near the left side of the faceoff dot, and now this will be an opportunity for Noah Hanifin to possibly start a breakout here for the Flames. They got 25 seconds in which to work with the first power play. As this goes here for Mikael Backlund, trying to get around it was Artturi Lehkonen. As this gets flipped out of the air, is this another penalty?
Wave goodbye to number 42, Josh Manson. That is a backhand clearing attempt that does not touch Jacob Pelche, just goes right past his leg pad and into the crowd. So there's going to be a brief 5-on-3 here. That's puck over the glass. Penalty to delay a game to Manson. So 22 seconds of a 5-on-3 here, John, and then there's going to be, if they do not score, about 1:40 of an extended man advantage for the Flames. So a huge opportunity to get back in this game, a real turning point for sure.
So I will say this at this point. I think I have to punch the button. I don't know if it's a must score on the 2-man advantage, but it's a must score with the potentially second power play upcoming here. With 3:55 left to go on the first, Elias Lindholm will take the offensive zone draw. See who's going to take it for Colorado. Probably most likely it'll be JT Compher or MacKinnon. It's going to be Compher now. So Lindholm try to get a piece of it, but this will stay with the Flames. Now Rasmus Andersson. Drop it here for Kadri. Kadri, patient. Try to play a pass toward the right side red line. He'll get it back near the left dot. That's where he likes to be. As this was played here for Huberdeau, but he tried to do something in between his legs as Calgary continues to move this around. Kadri wants the bomb, and this doesn't go his way, but it goes back off the carom as it's 1:35 left to go on the individual power play, and in between the legs for Huberdeau, trying to find a pass for Toffoli. And now Cogliano, he's definitely got some jets. Elias Lindholm's got to make sure he doesn't throw a trip out there, but I think it's exactly what he did. It's going to be 4-on-4.
Well, a moment ago, John, I said you could wave goodbye to Josh Manson for that unfortunate clearing attempt, and then, boy, Elias Lindholm, we're going to wave goodbye to you, and we're going to wave goodbye to the Flames power play. That was a bit of a weak call for me. I don't think Lindholm really got the stick in the skates. And to me, it looked like Cogliano was going down there already. But, boy, it doesn't matter. Number 28 for the visitors in the box. It's a 4-on-4, and the Flames have an even tougher hill to climb here to cut this lead in half.
And I'm going to be completely honest. That wasn't even a trip. And Lindholm just says, "Are you bleeping kidding me?" And honestly, I don't blame him. But if you're Cogliano, that's a good job by you in the gamesmanship to sell it in front of the referee. You got to get away with what you can get away with. So now this is a defensive zone faceoff win. It's a 4-on-4. There's plenty of space off the slap shot, and it's saved by Georgiev with the glove hand.
Yeah, that's a nice save right there at Georgiev, and I have to go back to it, though, that as I see a couple of replays here, that is an even weaker call on the trip than I realized initially. I thought it was suspect, but it is essentially that should not have been a penalty.
No, I couldn't agree more. 8-1-1, 246 in the last 10 starts for Georgiev. Those wins, that's what matters right now, whether it's 250 or not. If Colorado continues to hum on offense, you're doing exactly what you need to do. So it's 4-on-4 in behind the cage of Georgiev, and Colorado being a little too nonchalant. Mangiapane off the forehand as he tried to make a couple moves, but in tight save by Georgiev. This will stay with the Flames as they try to keep this off the forehand now. Off the spin, Mackenzie Weegar just trying to buy some time as it's Mangiapane, but he's being muscled by Byram as he's kind of been silhouetted. There was no space for him, but it finds Rasmus Andersson instead, as Calgary still has puck possession off this 4-on-4. The offensive defenseman will take his time, plays it now near the left side dot as Uyghur's got to settle it down, and they try to find a pass, I think, for a cutting Dube, but that just missed, and this could be a chance for Mikko Rantanen, and yes, it's going to take 3 players to dispossess him off the puck, so that's a good job by Calgary as they'll go all the way back. 4-on-4 for about 10 more seconds, as it's 2 minutes left to go in the first. Trevor Lewis is going to ride the left side boards off the backhand, trying to spin around the net of Alexander Gergiev, as Hunt, as he's back on the ice after getting smacked in the mouth with the stick. It's 30 seconds now, and an abbreviated man advantage here for the Avs. They're at 23%, which is 9th on the power play in the NHL. As this is reversed, back for Devon Toews. 20 seconds in which to work with the extra man, about $1.35 left in the first. Joining within the play-by-play, joined by Cooper Hopkins. We're going to be switching off pretty soon. As this is picked up by Nathan MacKinnon. JT Compher to an open high slot. Look for a tip there for Valeri Nichushkin as Mikko Rantanen tried to pick this out. And I can't think of a more dangerous 4-on-4 unit when you have Nichushkin, Rantanen, and Nathan MacKinnon on the same line. And if they had Cale Makar back and healthily, boy oh boy, as it's 1:05 left to go in the first. 8 shots to 5. Colorado's got a pair of goals right now as we're at Ball Arena. They're taking an abbreviated timeout, much like Tampa did in the Stanley Cup final and behind their net, as Calgary trying to get their bearings straight as well. But this is iced.
Yeah, John, there's some positives to take away for the Flames right there during the 4-on-4. I think they had the run of play. They looked like the better unit out there. And Mangiapane, I think, had the best chance of the game as he stick handled in and tried to go near post on Georgiev. He was turned aside, but nice job by number 88 to try to do it himself.
Yes, it was. And again, on a 4-on-4 side, when you can throw those same kind of forwards, as I mentioned on the Colorado side, it's good for Calgary to be able to show that same kind of face, because I think they have a lot of talent as well. As Markstrom, he's going to get way out of the goal crease. He'll actually pay this in toward the neutral zone and flip it down the ice. This actually will find Georgiev from about 90 feet. He's got to hold on.
Yeah, worth mentioning here with just over 40 seconds to go here in our opening period, John, that this is an anomaly for the Flames. Definitely has not been normal for the Calgary Flames to be held to so few shots in the first period. Just 5 so far for Calgary. And boy, got to look at the Avs, that 4-game winning streak. During that period, they have outscored their opponents by double, 18-9. And they are doing that right now. It's 2-0, I should say, so even more than double, because 0, that's not anything.
No, that's absolutely dominant numbers, especially out of the last 12, 2-2, but 4-game win streak in a row. As Tanev into the deflection, but this finds the stick of Cogliano. We'll see what happens in this last 30 seconds of the first. It's a 2-0 advantage for Colorado. But Calgary has had a little bit of a push of late to be able to not let this completely roll away from them right now. As this is played off the back pass, Dube, and it was a chance for Toffoli that just went wide, but Toffoli able to hold this in off the hit on the defensive side as this flipped off the left side of the glass. And now Lindholm will pick it up as he's stuck around the end boards, and this will be a chance for Colorado for Andreas Englund. But this is picked up now by Tanev as he gloved it out of the air, and that's going to end the first period.
Yeah, John, I like what I've seen from the Flames in the past, I would say the last, 3 minutes or so of this first period. It's relatively speaking, it's been impressive to see that they're not letting themselves get too dejected. I was debating about making a comment about their commitment to this game. I'd say a little more than halfway through the first period. I was wondering if we were going to see the toll that has accumulated for the Flames of losing so many tough games, so many overtime losses, the most in the NHL, at 12 overtime losses. And I believe, I'll double check this while we have the intermission, I think only one other team has 12 overtime losses. I know the Sharks have 11. So when you're beating the Sharks in overtime losses, something's gone wrong more than, or I should say exactly a dozen times. But that has not been the case, at least on the eye test. The Flames, I think, made a nice push, as you commented right before the end of the first. They made a nice push to get themselves going and at least try to create some momentum to take to the room and then back out on the ice for the second.
Yep, and to your point, the Dallas Stars are the only other team that has 12. So those are your numbers for the extra point.
That's a good teammate right there. Thank you, my friend, for filling in the gap that I left behind. So that's right. Flames and the Stars, and those are two teams in different spots right now when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoff race. Flames on the outside looking in, and I know we have lots to talk about here in this intermission and throughout the rest of the broadcast tonight. So what do you think, my friend? Where should we go with this time that we have?
Let's take a look around the league, and then we'll mention some of the trades that have been going on. You want to start?
Excellent. Yeah, let's take a quick look at what's going on in the league tonight. There are a number of exciting games to take a look at, and most of them are finals. So, John, I want to get this one out of the way. We just want to pull off the Band-Aid right now as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So, the Detroit Red Wings, my friend, they did not do what we were hoping they were going to do against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They were unable to score, as the Flames have been unable to score in this game. A final of 3-zip. The Lightning take down the Red Wings in Detroit. So a shutout there. Another shutout, one that I guess you would have expected, but potentially not by this magnitude. A 7-0 final in New Jersey.
Wow.
The Devils take out the Flyers by a pretty massive score right there. So they made no mistake about it in their contest. And another final from the East, the Ottawa Senators, 5-2 over the Montreal Canadiens in Quebec. And another final in the East, but we're looking at another team in the West, so we'll take a little half and half on this one. It's 3-2, the final between the Ducks and the Hurricanes. Anaheim goes into Raleigh and takes down a good Carolina team. John, the Anaheim Ducks just raising an eyebrow for me. I mean, obviously they're going to be sitting things out come playoff time, but that's an interesting score to me.
It's back-to-back games in which they beat the Caps and now beat the Hurricanes, who, let's be honest, I know everybody's talking about the Bruins, but the Hurricanes have actually been the hottest team in the NHL, so that's a big-time one. I want to mention this for the Red Wings side because it was a 47-save shutout for the Big Cat, and that's why the Red Wings went down 3-0. Ville Husso only had to face 15 shots, so the Red Wings fired as much as they could at the Big Cat, but he got goalied tonight, so good job by Vasilevsky, and I was just hoping, Cooper, that the Red Wings would take one out of the last two between the Rangers and the Lightning, and they did that. So now it's up to the back-to-back with Ottawa, and that was a big win for the Sens because the Sens are still within that playoff chase in the East as well. So that's going to set up big games on Monday and Tuesday off the back-to-back at the Canadian Tire Center against the Red Wings.
Yes, indeed, and I always appreciate you adding a little bit of context right there. I mean, it's one thing to look at the scores, but yeah, those are some big results. And you make a great point about the Red Wings. I think that they are still looking good. I know we've been excited about them, and certainly with good reason. And, hey, the Lightning are going to do what the Lightning do sometimes, and
Yes.
the Big Cat's going to do what the Big Cat can do sometimes. I mean, the other couple evenings ago, he gave up more than, or I think exactly a handful. I believe it was 5 goals against.
He did.
And then he turns it right around. And he gets the Big Cat claws out, John, and unfortunately he scratches up the Red Wings tonight.
Yeah, so at least I can say this. If the Tampa Bay Lightning win the next game, all it would be is a series split. And I think if you're Detroit, you would take that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's a great observation to make. I think you take that all day. One thing that the Bruins are going to take is another W. That's been happening all season long for them. A pretty standard 3-1 win for Boston as they go into British Columbia and take down the Canucks. Another final with 3 goals for a team wearing black and yellow. That's the Pittsburgh Penguins. They win the overtime game against the Blues. So the Penguins, who got pushed around just a couple of nights ago by the Edmonton Oilers, they squeaked by in St. Louis, John. What do we think about the Penguins moving forward? Are they still in the conversation here, or do you think ultimately they're going to fall out of it?
So I know it was a long time ago, but I always like to reference our trade deadline show when we did that last year. And we were trying to pick teams who was going to make it in the East and who was going to make it in the West. And I kind of split the coin, but I ultimately said that the Caps would lose it. But I think you and I still believe that the Pittsburgh Penguins will hold one of those wild card spots. That was a big win for them today because that puts them at 65, just above the Buffalo Sabres and the Red Wings. And they only have one last game in hand. So I think Pittsburgh is going to get in there because when you have Crosby, when you have Malkin, Letang, and all that, I'm not going to ride them out. And with Crosby, man, he's still killing it, dude.
Yeah, there's no other way to put it. I mean, that's the right phrase. It's just Sidney Crosby still is who he is.
Yeah.
And I know that Connor gets all the attention for good reason. And we're, of course, wishing the best for Cale Makar and that he can be fully healthy and bring his skill and excitement back to the ice. But kid. He's still who he is, and it's impressive to see. And yeah, the Penguins keeping themselves right in the thick of it.
Yes, they are. We have another monumental game, but that's going on the same time as ours. It's the Stars and the Golden Knights. So we'll see between the Central and the Pacific. So we will keep our eyes and ears glued to that one as this one goes on. I do want to mention just a little bit as we get in our first intermission. We're about halfway through it, most likely. So a few more trades to talk about and something that is going to be definitive from ESPN's Emily Kaplan. But the Winnipeg Jets, they get forward Nino Niederreiter from Nashville for a second-round pick in 2024. If that's all it takes to get another depth forward and someone that you can put on a second or third line, I think that was a great job for Rick Bowness and company and Kevin Shovel-Dayoff to acquire Nino Niederreiter. So I like that for the Jets going forward. You didn't have to give up much.
Yeah, I think that's going to make a big difference, and that's a big pickup, John. I don't want to be too short in my response here, but you know what? It's just simple. That's a great transaction right there, and Niederreiter, I think, can definitely make an impact right away.
So I want to mention this too, because on the CBC side, we're looking at it between the Patrick Marleau jersey retirement night, which is very, very well deserved. So that's why the game between the Blackhawks and the Sharks is a little bit delayed. So getting a chance to look at that now. The Colorado Avalanche acquired Keith Kincaid, and that's going to be depth for Justice Anunin as he's sitting as the backup right now because Pavel Francouz continues to be week to week. So they just want to make sure that they got some extra goalie insurance. Joe Sakic does a good job with that. But here's where I want to lead into, because this is what Emily Kaplan reported, and this is what Cooper Hopkins and I talked about when we just did a game a couple days ago against the Vegas Golden Knights and the Flames. It was the Vancouver Canucks getting forward Vitaly Kravtsov from the Rangers in exchange for William Lockwood and a 7th-round pick in 2026. Why is that important? Well, when you think about Gerard Gallant, he had some poignant comments about Kravtsov. I know some of this times might be window dressing, but I actually think that Kravtsov, he would be a guy that would be on the second, third, fourth line at least, and he would have a lot of talent. He has a chance to go ahead and get some playing time for the Canucks, but the reason why he's not getting that for the Rangers is because of that top six and everything else. What are you going to do? Are you going to put Alexei Lafreniere, Capo Caco, and Hedl on the fourth line? I mean, he's got nowhere to play. So this is what happened today. Between the Caps and the Rangers, as the Caps won, Ryan Lindgren went down, one of their top defensemen with LTIR. He's got shoulder injury. So that's going to allow Patrick Kane, as Emily Kaplan says, that deal is very close to done, and we should have that be done in a couple days. And with the LTIR and the money, that might allow the Rangers to be able to get a little bit better of a deal than they would have had beforehand.
John Odd, wow. Did we? Sometimes we do this, my friend. Sometimes it's positive. Sometimes it's a negative outcome when we say, we might expect this person or that person to score when we're covering games. We're talking about this just a couple nights ago, as you mentioned. I'm very excited to see if this deal goes through. To have Patrick Kane put on a blue shirt and continue to change the outlook for the New York Rangers, who are already in a great spot and heading to a great place, but certainly when it comes to the playoffs. And I'm just excited, my friend. I mean, what else can I say? Patty Kane, what a big change in the NHL. Of course, his entire career spent in Chicago. That number 88 is going to, I think, look beautiful in Ranger blue.
I know you can talk about Erik Karlsson, and Timo Meier on the San Jose Sharks on the move, as we'd expect that too. But I'm going to wear my rose-colored glasses or the blue shirt glasses and say I don't think that there's going to be a bigger pickup. You already got Vladimir Tarasenko now. Now you had Patrick Kane, as we just talked about a couple days ago, what the top six is going to be. You're putting Kane, again, as we talked about, with Zibanejad, Panarin, some elite puck movers. And he was already kind of dominating over the last few games because, it's up in trade value. Let's talk about that. And Patrick Kane, he knows he's got some stuff to prove. But as you said, Cooper, he is a stout Cup veteran. He's played with some terrific players over the years. I know what it is, as I've said about Tampa and Boston and Carolina, even New Jersey. Getting somebody like Patrick Kane, I said a top 3 team for New York, and I'm trying not to fall over myself, but that could put them in top 2.
Yeah, it's going to be a special makeup for however long it lasts. You wonder about players being extended and sticking it with the New York Rangers roster. And again, this is still hypothetical if this deal goes through as it is expected to. Why live in the future? Let's live in the moment right now. And the moment is going to be a special one for New York and their fans. I mean, Madison Square Garden, one of the best places to watch a hockey game in the world. And all of a sudden you're adding Tarasenko, and he comes in immediately, makes an impact. And then you're going to add Patrick Kane to the mix. I mean, yeah, that chemistry there, I would imagine, is going to be through the roof, John.
Yeah, and I'll just say this plain as day, and we can talk about contract situations that Cooper brought up and all of that, but I'm just going to be honest with you in the here and now. It's about what happens over the next 4 months. I don't think anyone else in New York management gives an F about whatever happens as long as Lord Stanley is being lifted. That's why you make the moves like these. You have the goaltending, you have the defense, you have the elite forwards. Finish off whatever else you can do. I mean, Joe Sakic, he didn't make major moves at the deadline last year, but what did he do? He brought in the depth. And then because of some of the moves that he made, he was able to sign Nichushkin, Lehkonen. Hell, I don't know if they're going to be able to sign Tarasenko and Kane, to be honest with you, but I don't think anybody's caring about that at this moment.
No, and John, okay, so this should be easy for you. I'll put you on the spot, but this is a pretty simple one.
Okay.
Refresh me, okay. Obviously, I'm flashing back. It's a number of years now. I'll keep my birth date out of it, but I was alive for this one and old enough to remember it. So I'm talking about the last time the Rangers lifted the Stanley Cup, and just I'm tearing. I remember the Messier, the prediction. I remember it, Brian Leach. I remember it plain as day. Was that 93 or 94? There's a reason why I'm asking. Okay, hit it for me. Was it 93 or 94?
Was it 95? I want to go ahead and say that.
Oh my God! Now I have to. Okay, so I'm gonna swallow my pride. I have one of us. We got to look it up because I'm trying to remember exactly the year that the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup, and the reason why is because I was getting a little sentimental, John.
94.
Okay, 94. All right. So that spoils where I was going with this. If it had been 93, that would have put us in a situation where exactly 30 years to the playoff season, the 30-year anniversary of the last time the Rangers lifted the cup, they would have had the type of squad that you would have to think is going to give them an incredible opportunity to reach the top of the mountain yet again. So, okay, we're a year short, 29 years, but we'll round up for the sake of Mark Messier and Richter and the rest of the squad. But, this is looking like an incredible stretch here for New York. We saw what they did with their roster in the playoffs last year, and then Tampa Bay smothered them. I would put the Rangers up against anybody, even if Patrick Kane is clipping along at an average pace, if Tarasenko is performing at an average level. If you just put all of those players at their average performances, I'm still going to say that they are going to be favored in my mind to take down almost any opponent in a 7-game series.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, and I wouldn't feel bad about the age thing because, again, I was 7 years old, and I still remember playing NHL 94 on the Sega Genesis, so those were the good old days.
You and me both, my friend. That's why we work so well together. That's our hockey foundation, my friend.
Yeah, and we get to start with the best on that side. So, yeah, it was the Rangers and then the Devils and then the Avs and then the Red Wings, the Avs, and the Stars in that, big 6-year battle. So those were some glory days in the NHL. And again, it's very eerily similar to what you just said about the Rangers and some excellent teams because Mike Richter was fantastic. He had Adam Graves. He had all those other elite forwards there. And then I can't believe Wayne Gretzky actually spent some time as a New York Ranger a little bit later, which was pretty cool.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, you and I don't get a chance too often to talk about the great one, but yeah, now is the time. You'll never have anyone like number 99, but you're going to have number 88, and that's pretty dang close. He's a special goal scorer, and I think as we've seen, and you mentioned it, and we both talked about this a couple of nights ago during our Flames and Knights broadcast. Patty Kane, I think, was showing the world that he still has a lot of gas left in the tank, and of course has been sitting out with the trade expected to go through. So that's part and parcel with these transactions. But I think if and when his skate blades hit the ice at MSG, he's going to be raring to go and look out any opponent.
Yeah, I think that's a game that you and I will probably be all over as well. I'm going to make sure that I cover that once that goes down and he actually gets a chance to be in uniform. So I do want to ask one little offshoot question there, Cooper Hopkins. So it was a few days ago when it was a slap shot, but Patrick Kane just missed the buzzer. Do you like it in the NHL where if the shot doesn't get in by the time the clock hits zeros that it doesn't count?
Maybe it's just because I'm used to it, John, but I'm going to say yes. Perhaps it's just because it's what I'm familiar with, but I think you have to be able to make a play, right? You have to complete your hockey play, and that includes the puck crossing the goal line with time still left on the clock. You need at least that last tenth of a second. And, I know that any other circumstance, right, you put that in the middle of any other period, obviously that's going to be a goal. But for me, it doesn't bother me, and that's just my opinion. It doesn't rub me the wrong way. I think you got to make a play within the time that's allotted.
All right, you know what? I'm actually going to defend you on that one. I thought maybe we might go the other way, but again, I guess that's why we work together, because we both agree with the rule side. It's been that way the whole time. It doesn't make it any less exciting because the Blackhawks ended up winning that game anyway in the shootout. Do you want to take the second period?
Yeah, let's trade it off, and maybe I'll if I'm lucky, I'll get to make a Flames goal call here, and hopefully I don't have to make any for the Avs. But the way they played tonight, they look like they are poised to score at least a couple more times conservatively, don't you think?
Yeah, we're going to have to keep our vocals sharp as they're looking at the upcoming schedule. As we talked about, it is Boston and Toronto next for Calgary.
Yes, indeed. And so this was not an issue during the first period, but I think on my feed, I also have the CBC feed, but I think I'm just about 6 or 7 seconds ahead of you here, but I don't think that'll trip us up at all. We're used to a little delay. And for me, at least, we get the overhead cam, and the puck is dropped here to start the second period. So we're just a handful of seconds in. It's 2-0 Colorado here at Ball Arena. The Flames in the second period, wearing their white road jerseys, will be moving right to left on your radio dials, and the home cerulean and blue Colorado Avalanche will be heading left to right, but no one's heading anywhere right now as the puck slides to Georgiev, and he will cover up for an early stoppage.
So I know we just got to look at it before puck drop, but I see Brad Treliving in the house. I wonder what he's thinking, Cooper.
Boy, I have to admit, I am thinking the same thing, and of course they get the shot followed up after the Treliving shot up in the box. We see the classic trademarked grimace on the face of the bench boss, Darryl Sutter, for the visiting Calgary Flames. So 30 seconds into the second period here, Jonathan Huberdeau with the puck on his stick, tries a wrister from outside. That one goes wide of the cage. And this will be back in the Flames' end quite quickly, where they will pick up, and Noah Hanifin is on the puck. Going to send this one forward to Backlund, so the third line out now for Calgary. Puck picked up there by the Avalanche and sent back around to the right of Georgiev, and now puck promptly slides back to the far half boards. Flames hold in the possession right now and trying to keep the puck in the O-zone. They're successfully doing that at the blue line. Going to drop off right here for Hanifin is Backlund. There's a shot right on, and no goal. John, I was ready to make the goal call, but I think it may have hit the bar. The Flames still have possession. It's down low just to the right of Georgiev, and the Flames are holding the puck in the trapezoid behind the Avs netminder. Boy, that's a heck of a sequence right there, and I'm not sure how the puck stayed out. But out it is, and now it's all the way back at center ice, where it's chipped along by the Avalanche, who will make a change. So hopefully we'll get a replay of that one, because that is certainly the closest the Flames have come to scoring in this contest, and that was just about 90 seconds here into the second. So the puck will be sent in from the neutral zone. It was just behind the center red line, and that will go down for an icing. So, John, I know you're catching up here in just a couple of seconds, but give me your breakdown on this replay when you see it.
So that was off the left crossbar 100%. I see Mangiapane trying to battle with it. As he played it off the forehand, he just chipped it off the left side of the bar. It was Backlund that fired it on. Mangiapane just hit iron.
Yes, he did. Boy, and he looked to the rafters right there, and that was a tough moment for the Flames. Again, just about an inch away, and that goes bar and in, or excuse me, post and in. But right now, the Colorado Avalanche have possession in their offensive zone. So the puck's back at the far left point, held in by Manson. Manson's going to chip this one down just off to the left of Markstrom. Puck bouncing around. Markstrom slung his glove out to try to cover up and wasn't able to do so. But, John, I think we're going to have a penalty coming up here. Is there a slash being called. I think so. I'm not sure who it's against.
So this, I think, is going to go against the Flames from what I saw. So 17:58 in the second, but I'm going to go ahead and get you your confirmation right now. Elias, no, it looks like against the Flames. It is a trip.
Yeah, no, I think you were right initially. I'm getting the replay again a couple of seconds ahead. And guess who's back in the box for the Flames? Not all that often, but he's in there twice tonight. It's Elias Lindholm. He got his stick shaft up into Andrew Cogliano's mitts, and that is a slash. So technically, this is the second power play for Colorado. There was some 4-on-4 time and sort of mixed man advantages for both of these teams in the first period, but now in 2 full minutes with the extra man for the Avs, they have the puck bouncing down low. Markstrom out of position, but the puck slides wide to the left of the post. 20 seconds have elapsed here in the power play for the home team. They hold down low at the near boards. Now it's picked up, going to be sent to the far circle. Puck goes back right there to Bowen Byram, and now the Colorado Avalanche will cycle it back. It's back to Byram. He shoots from distance, and that one we pass back to the far circle yet again. Good job by the Avs right here to hold the O-zone. Down low in the right circle, and a shot and a score, John. It is 3-0. So after hitting the post, it is Valeri Nichushkin who makes it 3-0 Avalanche.
What an absolute bullet here, the left dot. I know I said this many times, whether it's Elias Lindholm back in the box. You can't take penalties against the Avalanche. Gorgeous puck movement one more time. It was matriculated around the horn. Valeri Nichushkin, that right-hand dot, the left-hand shot, he snipes it above the left pad of Markstrom, lifts it. It's 3-0 Avs. That was a sick shot.
Yes, it was. Boy, he roofed that thing. That's a video game shot right there. Markstrom, I don't think he even saw it fly by him, and he's been hung out to dry. I mean, Markstrom, unfortunately, not having a great year, and it's been easy to criticize. But I would say the majority of the goals that have gone against him recently, and certainly at least 2 of the 3 here tonight,
Yes.
He has just been left there. No real checking of Nichushkin. He's kind of does the mirror of the Ovechkin. He's in the opposite circle, fires with that left-handed shot, and he sniped it, John. It's 3-0.
Yeah, nobody on the other side, as Rantanen was able to sit in that same spot where the puck went, was able to pick him up, even if there was a rebound.
Yes, indeed. So that's Nichushkin's 11th goal of the season on the power play, assist to Byram, and that's the 50th apple for MacKinnon on the year. And 3 minutes have gone here in the third, and the game continues to slip through the fingers of the Calgary Flames. And I hate to be dramatic, but as we see this scoreline balloon in favor of Colorado, it starts to feel like the playoffs are also slipping away from the Flames at this point. But Noah Hanifin has the puck now. He's going to try to Johnny Gaudreau this thing and shoot from a really tight angle. The puck actually went behind the net. It bounced all the way to the neutral zone. So the Flames still have the puck right now. Jonathan Huberdeau on the ice, and he gives it to Kadri. Kadri with some speed. I know he's going to want to try to get his team back in this game. He's still got the puck. Goes all the way through the O-zone, gives it up to Dennis Gilbert right there. And there's a shot down near the right post. Puck is loose in front. Flames jamming away, but they can't get it back on net. So Peltier has it. He leaves for Kadri. Boy, Kadri moving the skates beautifully right now. He's going to try to do this thing all by himself. Again, he's just carrying through the neutral zone. Backhand shot by Kadri. His best opportunity of the night. Turned aside by the right pad of Georgiev. Now 4 minutes elapsed here in the second. Shots are even 10-10. But the scoreboard is anything but. It is 3-0 Colorado. So inside 16 minutes, Flames have in their own end. Mikael Backlund, a nice sauce pass right there up to Blake Coleman. Every time I say Blake Coleman's name for the first time, I feel compelled to say former Tampa Bay Lightning man. So there it is for the one time this evening. And now guess what? Nathan MacKinnon's got it. He avoids the check. He's going to take on 4 Flames himself, holding the O-zone all on his lonesome right now. Now touches back to Manson. Manson looks to find MacKinnon, and there's a pass into the crease area, and it is chipped up off of the paddle of Jacob Markstrom and into the net. Man, MacKinnon is on a mission, John.
I had to make sure I had to not say anything because I was just turning my mic on as I saw the MacKinnon move. What a silky toe track that was. It put everybody else at Ball Arena in a serenade of O's. That was ridiculous. And between former Avalanche, Nazem Kadri, now the Flames, and Nathan MacKinnon, both these players have looked really good.
Yes, and MacKinnon's still out on the ice right now. Boy, it's just, you know what? There's so much talent at this level of hockey, but Nathan MacKinnon's combination of skating ability, and stick handling skill is just otherworldly. It's an absolute joy to watch. It makes me not even mind all that much. The Flames are down 3-0 right now. So there's Andrew Mangiapane with the puck, tries to get a wrister off from near the right circle, but Georgiev doesn't have to be called into action as the puck bounced just in front of the crease and wide. Now the puck all the way down to the Flames end. I thought there might have been an icing, but we will play on. Rasmus Andersson was near the puck, and now it is at the players' benches where it's cleared by the Avalanche all the way back down to Jacob Markstrom's trapezoid. So the Avs will get a quick change, and the Flames will look to knock this one out back to the center red line, where it's picked up there by Compher. Compher's going to send this one across. Another dangerous play for the Avs right there, but Markstrom turned it aside. I think that should be the 11th official shot for Colorado. We'll keep an eye on the shot board for that. 14:25 to go here in the second. The Avs looking to have some extended ozone time right now, but the puck will slide to neutral ice. It's held right there by Colorado's number 9. Excuse me. Had a little issue with the feed right there, but I'm backing at it. So every time, John, I always seem to have a moment of the feed going awry, but luckily we jumped right back in. And there's a wrister from between the circles that I think tipped off of Markstrom's glove. It may have been heading wide anyway. So, yes, there are 11 shots on the board right now for the Avs as they hold the ozone. Flames having trouble getting anywhere past the center red line. The puck slides through the crease yet again. The Avs couldn't get a stick on it right there. There's a shot from way out, and Markstrom does see that one. Play will finally be whistled down. But man, oh man, John, just unrelenting pressure from the home team right now.
I want to say this, and I mean this in all honesty. I know we just watched Vegas the other day. Good on them for the comeback win. I know it was unfortunate for us to cover it, but Vegas is not the Colorado Avalanche. This team looks ready to go. They do not mind being off the back-to-back, and that play there from MacKinnon and Compher, that was Compher to Evan Rodriguez. That was silky. That was almost as good of a deflection as you could get as we go to commercial break.
Yeah, we are in the break right now, so we can give what is deserved, and that is a ton of compliments to really every member of the Colorado Avalanche tonight. It doesn't matter who is touching the puck. They're making good decisions. They're moving their skates. They're finding space. And you know what? This is what has been missing, and it's tough. It's tough for me to have to make this comparison, but or actually I should say contrast, because it's quite different. The Flames aren't always able to make each other better. And that is what I'm seeing from Colorado tonight, John. These individual players, and I'm not saying it's about selfishness, right? It's not about, I want to do it myself and I want to, try to take this puck end to end and score on a forehand or backhand. No. Not about selfishness. It's just about your play being at a level and your decision-making being at a level that makes the players around you better and puts them in positions to succeed. I see the Colorado Avalanche doing that on every shift.
Yeah, I do. I know this is another, I can say this for a long-form discussion for the second intermission, but for Darryl Sutter, I think this is his second tour of duty, right, with the Calgary Flames. And let's say you want to go ahead and make a change if you're Calgary in the offseason. Well, then you got to bring in a new coach and then start all this stuff again. So as much as you want to change, Jared Bednar, these players, this system, they've been there for years right now. And that's why they look as good as they do. And that's why I say Colorado is going to win the West and the Central, because, I mean, come on, what we're seeing on the ice right now, I don't see Dallas, Winnipeg, Minnesota, any of those teams like that doing this.
No, you're absolutely right. And just as we talked about the injuries, you saw, John, you probably saw the same graphic that I just did. The Avs are on pace to have lost 462 total man games this season to injury, and they're still looking this good. So we are back underneath the action. 13:27 to go here in the middle stanza. It is 3-0 Colorado, and frankly, it could be a lot wider margin than that, the way they've been playing. So 13 shots for Calgary. They're sort of unbelievably ahead on the shot board right now. 12 for the Avalanche. But who needs to shoot the puck all that much when you score 25% of the time? So now down to 13 minutes to go in the second. The Flames have the puck behind Georgiev's trapezoid, or in the trapezoid, I should say. Though battling for the puck right there with a strong play is Devon Toews for the Avs. Flames still have it, though, near the blue line. Going to be a shot from distance by Toffoli. Flames look to get a deflection on right there. I think that was Peltier down low. Now Elias Lindholm has the puck. He looks for a centering pass, and it misses everyone. So this slides back to Jacob Markstrom at the opposite end. And he will drop off for Nikita Zadorov. Nikita Zadorov made a really nice forward-like play, driving into the ozone in the first period. This time he opts to chip it in and then throws the body. Good hit right there. So Zadorov's looked good tonight. Now the puck's down low, and Georgiev thought he had it covered, but it squirts free. So there's a shot. It hits a body in front. Flames doing a better job here after this media timeout of holding possession and creating some opportunities. So maybe they heard the criticism, and they're going to try to step things up to at least cut this lead to 3-1. Mikael Backlund out on the ice right now, and the puck is at the far corner, being held right there, I believe, by Andrew Mangiapane. Now it's to the right point, and Rasmus Andersson will chip back down low. Mangiapane gets tripped up, and now back up to his skates. He's going to hold this puck, drive inside, avoids a slash, but I think we do have a penalty coming up against the Avs, but the Flames still have the puck at the moment. And will possession continue? Yes, the play will continue. I thought we had an offside, but there is a delayed penalty here against Colorado. The Flames are cycling. They actually did this against the Knights, John. They have a nice extended ozone time right here with Mikael Backlund captaining this thing. 6-on-5. Flames chip it down low. There's a backhand pass across, but Compher will get his stick blade on it, and he slams that very same stick blade down on the ice in frustration. He knows his team's going to be down a man in just a moment.
Well, Colorado was able to bend but not break a little bit, but they are going to go back to the box. You get a look at the long shot from Tyler Toffoli, but that was closed 5-hole by Georgiev, and then as the one was just put across the blue paint as wow, that was a great hit on Nikita Zadorov on Curtis McDermott and behind the net. My goodness.
Yeah, Zadorov's looked extra special tonight, and this is what I mentioned earlier. You got to think that he's got a little extra juice. Facing your former team. But let's see if the Flames have some juice here. They're 0 for 2 tonight with only 2 shots on the power play. And John, I'm going to take a page out of your book. You said this earlier. I think it still applies. This is a must-score situation with 11:20 to go in the second. That Colorado is going to get at minimum, I think, at least one more goal in this contest. You've got to score right here if you are the Flames. So they are just trying to set things up right now. Flames actually are up to 17 shots, believe it or not, but 1:35 to go in the power play and nothing to speak of in the ozone. They're just trying to establish some possession. Rasmus Andersson leaves for the former Av-man Nazem Kadri. Big number 91 tries to chip into the zone, but again, that puck hits the skates. The Avs been doing a good job getting into passing lanes. They do it again right there and intercept a pass that was going through the neutral zone. So the Flames, after 50 seconds gone in this power play, they really haven't even had ozone time. So that does not bode well for the future of this now short-lived power play. Mikael Backlund goes near boards to far boards, and the Flames finally get some ozone time here, but the pressure is good from the penalty killers. Now down in the slot, there's a shot. Georgiev looks behind him. The puck's bouncing around. I'm not sure if that hit the post or the bar, but either way, it stays out. Flames actually with a relatively decent shot right there from distance. Now, I thought that was Elias Lindholm. That's number 29, Dillon Dube, who picks up a pass from Noah Hanifin. Now the puck's to Pelchier's stick. He looks for a pass. Would have loved to see a shot right there, but the Flames luckily keep the ozone. Mikael Backlund, he has the puck and gets deflected away. That was off of Compher. Now it's down low and a bit of a mishandle on the stick blade. The Flames had it right in the low slot, kind of the crease area to Georgiev's left, but the puck bounces off of a stick, and they cannot maintain possession. So just 12 seconds to go here in the power play, 9:40 to go in the second, and it looks like the Colorado Avalanche are going to kill this thing. And the Flames will go 0-3, but they intercept the pass right here. There's a shot going for the near post. Couldn't see the number on that. Who was the shooter? But the Flames no longer have the power play. They do have the puck, however. Down low, puck's at the right point. Mackenzie Weegar with a shot. I think that hit a body in front. Flames really fighting for possession right here, doing a good job, making the extra effort. The puck does squirt out to neutral ice, but Mackenzie Weegar's going to escape this one in, and the Flames will go for a change. So no shots officially on that power play, at least based on what the shot board says right now. That's going to be 3 power plays and only 2 shots for the Flames. That's a rough stat right there. Inside 9 minutes to go here, bouncing puck heads back toward the Flames blue line. They will pick up. That's Jacob Pelche back on the ice. He's getting some more ice time tonight. And a big flapper from Nazem Kadri. I think he just says, you know what, I need to get one on net. And he does so, but Georgiev gets it right in the breadbasket.
I like that from Nazem Kadri. I mean, not even frustration. You know what's there. I'm just going to say the obvious here. With Calgary on the power play, it seems like Colorado's defense, they just want to hold in between the middle of the slot, guard those circles, and dare Calgary to shoot from outside. So what they're trying to do is drive it in to make a play off a pass. But 5, 6, 7, 8 times that we've seen some of these things in the power play, it's just not there right now. So if they're not going to go back and fire some shots and they're going to allow Colorado to clear, that's why they're going to have so many meager shot totals right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great observation, John. One that we needed to make, and this is what makes the Avalanche so dangerous. And sometimes it's not having to be dangerous. We talk about this with Calgary a lot, and some of their opponents too, where we're comparing just getting shots on goal with high dangerous scoring chances, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the Colorado Avalanche have had plenty of those tonight. You know they're going to get at least a handful more, but right now, they are not in need of creating high-danger situations for themselves. They have a solid 3-0 lead. They haven't really been challenged all that much. Georgiev has a couple of moments where he's been called into action, but hasn't had to make any, 10-bell, A-plus saves. And I think the entire team is comfortable. But the interesting thing is they don't look comfortable. They still look very active, and they're just playing solid, transitional, and stay-at-home defense.
Yeah, and because of what you said on the back half of it, I think that's what makes me think that Colorado's so scary. And look, I understand there's a few more months before we get to the golden time for Lord Stanley, and you got to get there. But Colorado certainly looks like tonight, even off the back-to-back, they're starting to round into form, Cooper, and I think that's scary for the rest of the league as I'm getting another look at Brad Treliving, who's really chewing on that gum.
Yes, he is. He looks a little antsy. I'm sure he's ready to get back to the tarmac and climb the steps up into his private jet. I'm not sure he is loving his decision to come to Denver tonight because his team has not looked all that solid. And there's a quick stoppage here after we're back from break. The puck slid out of the O-zone and into the neutral zone. The Flames are in offside, so play is whistled down.
Did I see that correctly? 63 shots, no goals in the last opportunities?
That's right. In the last 5 periods for the Calgary Flames here at Ball Arena, that's a bunch of shots and nothing to show for it. And that narrative continues here as we see time tick down to 8:30 left here in the second. And Flames now with 18 shots, 12 for the Avs, but it's 3-0. The Avalanche with the commanding lead at the moment. So the puck will be at the far boards in the corner just to Markstrom's right. Avs pick it up right there. They send it back out to Manson. That one's wide and almost chipped in by none other than Nathan MacKinnon. He's been everywhere. Almost put that one in off of a Manson's flat pass. They hit off the end boards. Now Markstrom sprawling in front. The Flames can't find it. Markstrom can't find it either. And somebody clears that thing all the way back down. Should be a pretty standard icing call. And yes, it will be. Boy, oh boy. Yet again, John, it was almost 4-0 just a second ago.
Hey, an absolute game breaker is Nathan MacKinnon. He will be able to deflect that near the left side of the faceoff down. He will fire it on. So Sam Girard going to take his time, shoot in the high slot as Manson tries to get a piece of it with Rantanen. And my goodness, Jacob Markstrom, a couple good saves there as he was able to get across all the way with the right pad.
Yes, indeed. So unfortunately for Markstrom, was a 2.47 goals against lifetime against Colorado. That number is going to go up at least a little bit if this scoreline stays the same, which I imagine it's going to expand further for the home team here. And the Avs turning things around after this break. There's Markstrom having to slide right to left. The puck goes just wide of the net. Not sure if he got a piece of it with his glove on that shot from the blue line. So the Flames trying to clear here, but they can't get possession. Colorado has a near corner. And guess what? I keep saying his name. Nathan MacKinnon was right in the mix, but the puck slides to the far corner, and the Flames were able to at least get this one out. They were looking for a stretch pass that did not connect. Now Nazem Kadri has Compher behind him. The puck is underneath Nazem Kadri's skate blade. Mangiapane in the mix now. And this is right in between the players' benches. Mikael Backlund has a knee up on the boards. He's ready to make a change. So is Dennis Gilbert. But this thing is just frozen right now. Finally, it comes free. And the Flames thought they had an opportunity to break out. They will not, though. I think this one actually deflected up into those players' benches. So we get the whistle.
Kind of makes you wonder what they were talking about as it was sitting there for about 20 seconds underneath the players' bench. That's crazy. I don't think we've ever really seen that. I have a couple pointed questions for you going into the second intermission. We might go toward a dark alley, Cooper Hopkins, but I'm going to have to maybe try to drag you out of it or see what we think, because I'm going to have some things in my mind.
No, well, I'm curious to see what you're thinking. And you know what? the next couple of weeks for the Flames in terms of their schedule, that is a dark alley all on its own. So they're going to have to navigate a really tough stretch here, and it's certainly been one as they go down in overtime to the Golden Knights a couple of evenings ago, and things are looking pretty grim right here, 3-0 against the Avalanche and Detroit. So 6.5 to go here in the second period. Flames need to get something going before we reach the break, but there's not a ton of time left. They do have the puck at the moment and look to connect a stretch pass. That one deflects off of Milan Lucic, and it's turned aside easily by Georgiev. And Lucic is offside. Flames send it back in, and they will, I think, be whistled down for that offside call. Either way, we'll have a face-off in the neutral zone.
So the puck just bounced off Nikita Zadorov's back leg before he went to go make a change. There's been a lot of stuff going on near the players' bench right now over the last couple possessions.
Yeah, you know what? It feels like more of a John Ott and Cooper Hopkins hockey game now. We're getting some extended frozen puck time between the players' benches. And I was about to say Lindholm again, but I keep seeing 2-8, but that was 2-2. Trevor Lewis being whistled out of the face-off, and the face-off is promptly won by Colorado. So now we're down to 6 minutes to go here in the second. Flames doing a good job of not allowing the Avalanche to establish ozone time here over the past couple of minutes at least. And Lewis, nice job trying to step around an opponent right there. Puck is sent down toward Georgiev, but it bounces free of the crease, and the Flames don't get a real shot attempt off right there. And now one-on-one the other way. Now Noah Hanifin gets turned around, and the puck is centered from the far corner. The paddle of Markstrom comes out. He turns it aside. Now there's a slapper that goes wide. Markstrom threw out the blocker, but actually didn't have to make a save. So the Avalanche come right back after I said the Flames are doing a good job of keeping them at bay, and they do what they do so often. They create dangerous chances out of almost nothing. So now the puck's at the far half boards and the Flames end of the ice. 5:20 to go here. Puck bounces off of a stick, and the Flames will try to break out, but possession is turned over, and I think we have the puck being played with a high stick. So there will be a face-off at center ice, John.
Well, boy, it tells you one thing. If you're Nathan MacKinnon, if you're a really great player or just that in general, as we're going to go to a commercial break, the puck just seems to find you, doesn't it? He's been all over the ice tonight.
Yeah, and it seems like I know I keep, as we like to say, we keep hitting this button, but it's one that we need to, because again, I think in almost every game there's a player, whether it's a Flame or one of their opponents, someone stands out as just making great decisions, and that player, unsurprisingly, is Nathan MacKinnon tonight. It seems like every time he makes a choice, it puts the Flames on their heels. It puts one of his own teammates in a position to score, or it just puts his team in a position to maintain offensive push. No matter what he's doing, it seems to be the right thing.
Yeah, it does, because I'm looking at his stats on the season right now. You got, hold on one sec, make sure I get this correct here, in the sense of 58 points. You got 40 games played. I mean, he's missed, 15 times like that, so he's been all over the ice. I mean, it just doesn't matter. And between Cale Makar, you missed him, you missed some of your top D-men, and this team just continues to look good no matter who's out there.
Yeah, and let me just, while we have another minute or so, obviously we could list any of the goal scorers, but you know who else I've liked, John, tonight? Tell me if you like this. I really like Josh Manson in this game. He's been in good positions. He's made some good, choices, right? He's made some good choices to send the puck in from the blue line, and he's created opportunities for his teammates as well.
And him, and then they're also getting Bowen Byram back from not too long ago, and that's a good young defenseman. I mean, my goodness, these guys are, 22, 23 years old for the most part, and you still have the spearhead. Look, we talked about it before. They're still missing Gabe Landeskog. Maybe we'll see him by the time the playoffs roll around, but who knows? I mean, they just keep adding pieces.
Yes, they do, and each piece seems to, make this team that much more threatening, and it's impressive to watch. It's impressive to watch, and we are back here. The commercial break has expired, and we will get face-off at center ice with 5 minutes and 18 seconds to go here in the second. Flames trailing Colorado by a score of 3-0. So a nice win right there at the center ice face-off by the Flames. They'll send this one down, but it is too far, and that will be an icing.
So I look at this again, but Cooper, you can differentiate this if you don't agree. 18 shots to 15 for Calgary, but it just doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, John, you and I, we've hit this before, and we're going to talk about it during the next break. But yeah, the Flames just don't seem to create the quality of chances that the Avs do. The Avs just move the puck in a different way. They put each other in different and more threatening positions. And for the Flames, a lot of those shots are from outside or they're bouncing to the net. There have been a couple of threatening opportunities. Mangiapane comes to mind, Kadri with a decent shot as well. As there's talk about a decent shot, a puck that comes out of nowhere, bounces to the Avs in the high slot. It's right on. Markstrom makes a save, and the puck is finally covered up. So good job right there by Jacob Markstrom to freeze the puck and get a face-off, John.
And a wobbling puck as they're trying to get that out. Mackenzie Weegar under duress is Lehkonen pries it loose, and guess who it is? Nathan MacKinnon in between the circles as it falls back to Jacob.
You're right. So, John, I'm going to have to ask another favor from you. This happens to me once or twice in the broadcast. If you could jump on the play-by-play for me. My feed a little unreliable at the moment, and I'll take the analysis if that's all right.
Sure. So Nathan MacKinnon is going to go ahead and take this against Nazem Kadri, former Stanley Cup champions. You always like to see that on the draw as this gets picked back up by Zadorov as he's near the right side of the red line. O'Connor trying to throw a body in there with Newhook as well. As this is still with the Avs, but Zadorov doing his best to try to get puck possession here for the Flames as Peltier trying to backhand this, but it's not out. But it went right to the former Av, Nikita Zadorov, as he makes a stretch pass. This will bounce off the Avalanche. We'll allow Sam Girard to play this off the forehand. Good tape-to-tape pass. It's Evan Rodriguez, and this goes off the left blocker of Markstrom and goes all the way into the crowd.
Yeah, John, we didn't have a ton of time. We were talking about it before, and I picked out Manson as a nice defensive bright spot for the Colorado Avalanche tonight. But you know what? Evan Rodriguez has been so solid. He's just he's looked great tonight, and he was looking great right there. That shot right on.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how the Pittsburgh Penguins feel not having him anymore, because he certainly seems to have a lot of jets. He's got 4 shots in this game already. It's 18-17 on the shot board, but Colorado has 3 goals. As this will be an opportunity for Mikael Backlund and the Flames to get a defensive zone draw, but this will go back to Hunt. He's going to let a bomb go, and this will go right into Markstrom as he makes the save, but there was a lot of Redwoods in front.
Yeah, and Markstrom being called into action pretty frequently here. I mean, I stand by what I was saying a few minutes ago, where the Flames had a nice stretch. They were keeping Colorado at distance, and there weren't really any shots or offensive opportunities to speak of, nothing notable. But that has changed, and the Avs are making another push right here as we get close to the end of the second.
So JT Compher with a pair of face-off zone wins against Mikael Backlund, and now Markstrom got to play this quickly. Mangiapane will glove it out of the air, try to get a transition, set it back up here for Mangiapane off the backhand. He's on the right side of the wall as Backlund will try to race in near the left side of the red line. It's Mangiapane as this goes back D-to-D. It's no Hanifin, but good defense by Colorado to force them out. They have to shoot this across the red line as an offside can be negated, and this flips out of play with 3:42 in the second.
Yeah, John, just on a personal note, thank you for stepping in on the play-by-play. I think I'm getting the feedback here momentarily, but if you could just carry this one to the second intermission, we can get into our discussion. And I'm very intrigued by how you listed the dark alley. I'm afraid, my friend. I'm fragile here. I'm a Flames fan. You got to be careful with me.
I almost don't want to talk about it, but I'm just having the thoughts in my mind. And again, I don't want to differentiate that just because it's the Avalanche. But again, I know what the scoreline says is we're getting something else again. Now we get some pushing and shoving. McDermott wants to go with Lucic. Let him go. I want to see it. McDermott. He's got his gloves off and they're holding Lucic back, but that's making me sad. And now here comes Lucic. They're the left side down. Let's go, boys. Lucic and McDermott. We'll see who throws first. McDermott trying to get a couple overhands. Is Lucic hold on and let he's got a couple overhand let that pop McDermott as he can't get his fist free. Lucic now fighting off a couple of forehands as they still haven't tagged Lucic now. And now he goes with an overhand right. And now a big fist by Lucic. And he knocks McDermott down.
Oh, John, that was as close to a KO as we're going to see in the NHL. Milan Lucic had a nice even bout right there with McDermott, but you know what? Big number 17 for the Flames gets the better of 56 for the Avs. McDermott gets knocked out right there by Milan Lucic. That's a heck of a fight.
Wow, that was an incredible fight. I was almost wondering if the Zebras were going to deny us that opportunity, but he goes, Lucci's just waving his hand. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's do this. And then a couple serious overhand rights just sends McDermott to sleep.
That's impressive. We're going to be seeing that on Flames highlight packages for a long time. What a hook right there. Milan Lucic with almost literally the knockout punch.
Uyghur is going to get tripped. This should send the Flames to the power play. So a fight win and a power play upcoming. Opportunity here to get within 2.
Wow, John, yeah, you're right. That's just a kind of a lazy play right there. Uyghur gets clearly tripped, and it's Cogliano in the box for 2 minutes for tripping. So with 3:31 to go here in the second, John, another opportunity, and we say it every time, but I it's true. Flames have to score here.
They have to. I mean, if you're not going to get the momentum off that flight win and now a tripping here, I mean, this could essentially be the best time to score. Might be the only one you get. So Lindholm trying to get this one as this is bounced off of a puck win by the Avalanche. Now you got to be careful because this could be a one-on-one the other way as Devon Toews. Instead, he's just going to curiously spin. This is going to allow the Flames to get some puck possession as Rasmus Andersson will wrap this around the inboards here for Nazem Kadri. Now Lindholm will pick it up as this goes back to Toffoli. So it's 4 forwards, 1 D per usual. And now this will get picked up. Back here for Anderson, somehow able to keep the blue line. I thought he might have stepped off, but this is still with the Flames as he tried to throw a dangerous sauce. Rasmus Anderson will pick it up now. Nazem Kadri, patient. One-timer Lindholm. It's loose in the middle of the slot, and now Kadri will pick it up near the right dot as they'll go back to Rasmus in the high slot. Now back to Nazem. Nazem off the forehand. He's still patient. Drop it for Rasmus with the bomb. This goes up the left bank. Scores! Tyler Toffoli as the Flames get on the board.
Well, John, there is a heartbeat right there, and it was almost kept alive. And the paddle is in his hands, and that was Elias Lindholm with a beautiful slap shot, a 1T from the slot, and that was denied. But you know what? Just moments later, the puck's bouncing around. Georgiev in decent position, but the puck slides off of his right pad, bounces off, I should say. And Tyler Toffoli, boy, from a tight angle, fires it up and over the netminder for the Avs, and it makes it 3-1. So the Flames with just a little bit of life here and 2:40 to go in the second.
Whether anyone agrees or disagrees with this, I'm going to say this on this live power play. I also give half a credit of that to Milan Lucic, kind of fire up the boys in that room here to get within 2, as that was a big time goal off the power play for Tyler Toffoli. Now 2:30 left to go in the second. The Flames will chip this in. You want to go ahead? You got 2:30 here. Maybe you get another one as Backlund tries to fire it on, and now this will be with the Avalanche. It's a 3-on-2. You got to be careful here as this drop. Evan Rodriguez trying to play something here for Mikko Rantanen now. Rantanen picks this up toward the right side red line. Compher will crisscross as this is near the left side blue line. Rantanen tries to get to it now as Evan Rodriguez will win the battle. Boy, has he been all over the ice as well as the Avalanche can't hold the zone, and they'll go all the way back. 2 minutes left to go in this second. It's just been a goal by Tyler Toffoli that's got the Flames within 2, so now they can get back into this game here. It's Nazem Kadri, double shifted, back on the ice from the power play. He's going to drive around the inboards here of Georgiev. He'll play the drop pass. It's Rasmus Andersson off an opportunity. And now Hanifin, as it got denied off of the wrap. It's Rasmus again from a high circle, and that was saved by Georgiev.
Oh, boy, John, how does Rasmus Andersson not bury the puck right there? You do not see that too often. He comes in with speed from his defensive position, comes all the way down through the trapezoid going high to low, and he was actually free in the slot to shoot, and Georgiev makes the stop. Wow.
Yes, he did. And you're talking about Alexander Georgiev, the former backup here for the Rangers. You're going to get an opportunity to play a big-time goal for Colorado and also have some support. That was a monumental save at this point in the game as they ice it, so the Flames can do whatever they want here with this offensive zone draw.
Yeah, and John, you said it, and I'm going to agree with you. The Flames look like a different team since the Milan Lucic fight. I mean, I know it's only been a couple of minutes on the clock, but, man, they are all over the Avs right now.
I'm not going to say they were comatose, Cooper, but, I mean, we got life here in this game.
Yes, we do. I mean, this is impressive, and I think with the delay, there's a brief stoppage right there as the puck came through off of a one-timer. Georgiev had a little trouble. He left the rebound out in front, but ends up covering up. But Lindholm on the doorstep looking for the rebound. So another shot right on, and I think that was Toffoli from outside.
That was Teapot with an absolute bomb as Georgiev had to catch his breath and try to catch that one again. Toffoli certainly got all of it. And now it's another face-off win here for the Flames as this goes back around the inboards here. Now Rasmus Andersson, he's been pinching in a hell of a lot of late. The offensive defenseman trying to make some plays as it's picked up near the left side of the wall with Trevor Lewis. He'll just try to fire it on and then almost look like a mirror image of the Backlund goal. But this goes all the way back around here for Rasmus Andersson. Certainly love the pep and the step that I'm seeing from Rasmus right now. As Toffoli will put this right on, but this will go back to the Avalanche. Now we'll see if the Avalanche can get something going. O'Connor, great move off the backhand, but this was expertly sticked away into the neutral zone as it's Backlund. But it's 1-on-3 and offsides, and you can tell from a little bit of anguish there.
Yeah, John. It's again. I just want to reiterate the Flames. I think at just the right time, and hopefully, speaking of time, hopefully there's enough left for them. They look to be reinvigorated here. There's just inside a minute. They're going to head to the room. Maybe they can make a push for one more goal. So let's see what we have before this period expires.
So Backlund's got a neutral zone draw upcoming against JT Compher. Compher's won the last 4 against Backlund. He's been pretty good in the circle tonight. As this is knocked away from Rodriguez. Compher will take it up. It's Byram in the middle of the slot. What a save by Markstrom. That was a huge one there. As we got 30 seconds left to go, it's Backlund on the right wing. This goes off of Georgiev, and the rebound goes wide. And now the Avalanche will try to get this out of their own end. Good touch pass. It's Compher in the middle of the circles. He's patient, tries to fire it in between that same spot, and this will be picked up by Blake Coleman. Now Backlund. It's Nikita Zadorov with Mangiapane. As he plays it to Zadorov, he fires it short side as that was saved by Georgiev. It's with Zadorov now, but the Flames got to make something happen with 3 seconds. Got to center it out in front. That gets blocked, and we go to the dressing room 3-1.
Oh, I'm taking a deep breath right there, John. Byram almost sealed this game away for his Colorado Avalanche, and Jacob Markstrom makes truly one of the better saves I've seen him make this season. He just kept himself in position, and I'm not sure if it was the shoulder or the blocker of that right arm. Either way, he stones Byram, who was in alone, keeps it 3-1, and the way that the last 3 or 4 minutes went, especially those minutes after the Lucic fight, that big KO punch taken by McDermott, Calgary's looked fantastic, and that would have all been for naught. All of the air would have just deflated out of the balloon had Byram scored right there. That's a huge save.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When you're talking about that, that was a great pass again by Compher that led Byram right in between the circles there. Markstrom with a monumental save because, again, they just scored with Toffoli on the other side. So, man, that was a bit of life. Again, I'll throw this in there between the McDermott and the Lucic fight. You never know what's going to awaken a team. We were waiting for the Flames to get something going all game. It's not like the Avalanche have gotten a ton of shots, but we just didn't see that kind of pushback. But boy, oh boy, let's just go back to that Lucic fight there for a minute. That was an excellent one. Couple of overhands there, Cooper, as that was an absolute knockout blow, and it certainly seemed to get the Flames a certain level of life that we haven't seen all game.
Yeah, and I was just saying, John, or I was about to say, John, that, you know what? McDermott is going to think twice before ever dropping the gloves against Milan Lucic again, and he did, as you called it, in the moment. He dropped the gloves first. Milan Lucic was being held back. He said, you know what? No, sir, Mr. Referee, I'm game for this bout, and he might as well get, I mean, I don't know. This is, again, we've been talking about things tonight that sort of ages myself, and now everyone's going to be able to tell I'm long in the tooth, my friend, but it makes me think of a Sports Center top plays. It's not normal to see an NHL fight in the top 10, but that should be up there. It's certainly worthy of it because, man, oh man, that overhand right from Lucic, boy, one of the best punches I've ever seen in a fight. He connected so cleanly, and McDermott dropped like a sack of taters.
Yeah, it was absolutely excellent. And then from what we saw in that power play, again, it was a curious one in the middle, and it allowed Tyler Toffoli, after some great puck movement there by the Flames, to get on the board. So let's just do a quick score reset because I know we didn't do that in the first intermission. We had so many other things to talk about. So there has been, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 penalties, the 2 of them for fighting on both sides. So it's been pretty busy. Alexander Georgiev has stopped 22 out of 23. And for Jacob Markstrom, 16 out of 19. But your goals in this game, it started with Nathan MacKinnon. Boy, what can you say? With a series of stick handles, it was dropped in the middle of circles from Valeri Nichushkin. I don't think Markstrom ever saw that one. And honestly, calling it, I didn't even think I seen it anyway. It was just a blur as Nathan MacKinnon had his 21st. And then Alex Newhook followed it up at 8:22 from Logan O'Connor and Andrew Cogliano. And then Mikko Rantanen with his 38th of the year on the power play. And we'll say this, with all the injuries that the Avalanche have had, as Nichushkin got a primary with Bowen Byram, if it wasn't for Mikko Rantanen scoring as many goals as he's had, he's normally the assist man, but I think he's had to step up to the plate for this Avalanche team. And I give him full marks as he's continued to lead. Tyler Toffoli with the latest in the power play from Rasmus Andersson and Nazem Kadri. But again, Mikko Rantanen has 38 on the year, and he's normally a guy that gets you around 25.
Yeah, and 25 is the number, in fact, that Tyler Toffoli just hit. So another good mark right there. It's great to see forwards get that 20-goal mark, and then beyond that, it's kind of gravy. With especially in the absence of Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, which I'm going to touch on a little bit further in this second intermission. But yeah, Rantanen looked fantastic. The numbers bear it out. He's been stepping to the plate, as you just suggested, in a major way. And Tyler Toffoli doing his best for the Flames as well, who had less success when it comes to just efficiently and consistently getting the puck to the back of the net. You know what? You have to look at Tyler Toffoli, and he's somebody we talked about before, John, that I think is still a little underrated in his production and the way he's looked at in this league. He's a contributor, and Rantanen is as well. And that's impressive from both of those players to do what they've been doing this year.
Absolutely. So, again, I'm anticipating whether or not I want to do this, but again, now I get a chance, and we can look at this and talk about this again because I'm getting a chance to look at the fight one more time. And I just can't look at it enough, Cooper Hopkins. Again, Lucic being held back, and McDermott says, let's go. And then that's just, man, it was over in about 25 seconds, but that's poetry right there with those overhand rights. So,
it is. You can wait. All I can say is I think I heard it in your voice. I'm sure you can hear it in mine. You know what? It's part of hockey. It's certainly not as big of a part as it used to be. But man, oh man, that kind of a physical clash right there, that puts a smile on my face. That's two big, tough players deciding to square up against one another. And you know what? There was a clear winner in that battle. So as we give our tips of the cap, a big one to Milan Lucic. What a shot. That was a memorable one.
Yes, it was. So I know this happened a few days ago, and I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it. I didn't really want to go down this avenue, but let's just do it because we have the second intermission, unless there's other pressing matters that you want to talk about. So I know Jonathan Huberdeau's agent, Alan Walsh, he came out the other day against before they played against the Coyotes, and pretty much conjecture on my part, but saying a little bit misused. And, Jonathan Huberdeau should be having more points and more ice time. He's not getting the 20 minutes of ice time. He's getting around 16, 17, not having the same type of year. So let's say something in the sense of the Flames. We know that this is a big part of the schedule. And you and I have talked about it, and you and I do agree on this. These next 5-6 games against these playoff contention opponents, that's going to say a lot whether the Calgary Flames make the playoffs. But let's say what we talked about last week. You might have mentioned this. I know you did. You could have a 4 or 5 game losing streak in this stretch that could essentially get you out. Let's say the Flames don't make it. What do you do with Darryl Sutter and behind the bench next year?
Oh, yes. You really are. You used the right analogy, John. Now I feel like I have been pushed into a dark alley, and I'm not sure which way to go. Let me talk about two things. So first of all, Huberdeau's agent. I think that is, we see it every so often in really all the major sports, right? Sometimes you're going to get an agent who puts themselves in the mix. They want the best for their client. Listen, Jonathan Huberdeau is a star. We know he's a star in this league. This season has been anything but a star. It is not, and if it is a star, it's one that it's on its last legs. It's burning out. And so my issue is not even with his agent making that statement, my thought is that it's about Darryl Sutter, and then I'll get to my thoughts about what may happen to Darryl Sutter. But so about Huberdeau, I'm in a chicken and egg situation, John. If I'm Darryl Sutter, I'm thinking to myself, okay, sure, his agent wants to run off at the mouth. You know what? He may even have a point. I'm not going to admit that publicly, but maybe secretly I'm thinking to myself, part of me thinks he's right, but I'm in a tough spot. Chicken and egg. If I give Jonathan Huberdeau 4 more minutes of ice time a night, what am I expecting him, realistically, based on this season, because he's not with the Panthers anymore,
right?
And it's not last year. What am I expecting him to do with that time, and who is not getting time if I'm giving him time?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about the line that's led by Mikael Backlund. That's been an excellent and inarguably the Flames' best line over the past minimum several weeks. And Mikael Backlund in particular driving that play. Now here's the other issue. Okay, I'm thinking about taking away time from other lines. All right, let's say I do, hypothetical again, let's say I do give the time to Huberdeau. Okay, that means that his line mates are getting extra time as well, let's say we're not mixing up the lines, just to keep it simple. So that means we're going to have more time for Kadri. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. And we're going to have more time for, right now, Jacob Pelchier, who has looked good. And yes, he had a multi-point game against the Arizona Coyotes, but unfortunately that is the Arizona Coyotes. So am I comfortable with Pelchier sort of learning on the job with Jonathan Huberdeau, who has basically had kind of a down-and-out year? I don't know if there's enough there to push me over the edge to convince me that I have to give him, what is that? That's about 25% more ice time.
Yes.
I don't feel that there's enough there to make me make that decision. And that's unfortunate. And that is what puts us into the second half of this question, that Darryl Sutter's job may be teetering on the kinds of hypotheticals and decisions that I was just describing. His job may depend on what he's choosing to do with the first line and Jonathan Huberdeau in particular. And not just about the ice time, but about what it means for the rest of the players that are affected by that choice, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And I think you absolutely nailed it. And I think you called it exactly how it was supposed to be called. Because, again, I've seen what the fans say on Twitter, and boy, oh boy, I want to make sure. It depends on what your hockey club does from day to day, but it seems like fans certainly live and die. But I know the fans are saying, well, what do you want to do? Have him play 5 more minutes to watch him not shoot the puck in certain situations and turn it over? What's Darryl Sutter supposed to do? And then if you want to go ahead and take some of those minutes away, I know Milan Lucic, again, he'll probably be one of those guys that'll be the odd man out, or coming into next year, the salary cap situation is not going to be so big if they get brought back. So there's going to be some opportunities for Brad Treliving to make some moves on this team. But I kind of agree with you on the chicken and the egg side of it. And for Darryl Sutter, what else are you supposed to do? Do you want to take more minutes away from Elias Lindholm or Tyler Toffoli? No. Mikael Backlund has been excellent. In between Backlund, Lindholm, and Toffoli, I could argue alongside with Rasmus Andersson, they've been the best Flames all year, and I really don't want to take those minutes away from them. So if I'm Alan Walsh, I can understand. And like you said, he might have a point, but let's say you go ahead and you make that coaching change. You're also, I know how it was in Detroit here with Derek Lalonde from the Tampa side of things. It takes time to do that again. So not only did you have to take the first 3-4 months of the season to get everything acclimated. Look, he had some first line time for Huberdeau, and it didn't work out. I know different line mates, but he just didn't look comfortable on that side. If you made some coaching changes, you're putting himself in the same spot again where you have to start over, and the fans won't be too happy about that, is that to get acclimated again in a team that has to win right now. So it's a tough position to be in.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? As I hear, that's an excellent breakdown right there on the heels of my comments. And one thing I do want to do is actually answer your question. I sort of realized that I kind of stopped just short. I got about 90% of the way down the alley, so to speak. And I'll take the last few steps here. My feeling, and I mean, obviously this is literally just my opinion, is that Darryl Sutter, there's enough cachet there. There is enough sort of credit, to use a metaphor, that I certainly don't think that we'll see any coaching change this season, and I certainly don't think that we will see one next season. I think he has at least one more year because, inevitably, even if the Flames are relatively quiet in the offseason, maybe they make some changes to their complementary pieces, those third and fourth lines. You do wonder about the Ritchie who you just brought up. Yes, an extremely exciting fight that I'll remember for a long, long time. But is he really able to contribute the way the Flames need him to? He's a Darryl Sutter type player, but I think even Darryl Sutter knows that the Huberdeaus, the Toffolis, the Lindholms of the world. My gosh, Sean. Sometimes I feel bad. I was going to say this earlier in the broadcast. Sometimes I feel bad for Elias Lindholm. I see him out there, and he's in the same spot that he used to stand, right in the middle of the slot on the power play. When Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk would tic-tac, 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 toe to Elias Lindholm, and he would just rifle home a goal. And he's still there for that shot every so often, but he just doesn't seem to get fed the way that he used to. And some of that spark has been lost, and it's tough to see. And so the roster is going to turn over. There are going to be some new players. I would imagine that Brad Treliving and Darryl Sutter are having, I think, pretty intense conversations on a regular basis about who's available and who's going to make the cornerstone pieces of the Calgary Flames better on a game-to-game basis. I think that Sutter gets at least one more season to try to accomplish some things with most of this roster intact. And I think if they certainly if they fall out of the playoff picture, or if they don't at least win a round, which always seems to be the bare minimum if you get in, then I think you might look for a change.
Well, I appreciate you being honest with that. I was glad to be able to get you on there and have you answer that question and talk about it, because I know we're hockey minds. Your mind is a lot greater than mine, but listen, when you use the resource that's there, you follow the Calgary Flames. I had the burning question on my mind, so I'm glad we actually got that out in the forefront, because as I looked at it, as we're hitting another commercial break, trade deadline's on Friday, and we talked about whether or not this team should stand pat or go for it and all that. I think if you're Calgary, again, I'll just cement this right now as far as I feel, I think he's stand pat. And I think for all the other money that's going to be coming out of the books this season, when the seasons end, Brad Treliving can still do a lot of things to subjugate this roster and whatever he wants to. And I think the Flames will be in a good spot. I still said this from the beginning of the year, that this was a playoff team, even with the losses of Gaudreau and Tkachuk. I still believe that. The Western Conference, as you said from a couple days ago, they've been getting hot at the wrong time, and that's certainly true. But when your destiny's in your hands, you got the critical goal right now to get back within 2. That's what you want if you're the Flames. You're not completely out of this thing, but you got to win games against good teams, and that's what you should have to do if you want to be an NHL team that wants to make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think that's well said. Also, I'm going to hedge my bets here just slightly, and I think this is something that most hockey fans will be aware of already. I think that for a team like the Flames, when you're really on that bubble, and they are the definition of that bubble team right now, just on the outside looking in with big opportunities to change their fate in the near future. I mean, forget 15, 16 games from now. We're talking the next 4, 5, 6 games, John, as you and I have covered thoroughly. The way I'm hedging my bets is to say, if the wheels really completely fall off over the next 2 weeks or so, we're talking like a 7-game losing streak, then we might be having a different I would say we're likely having a different conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's about Darryl Sutter. I think it's about the roster. And we touched on this a little bit against when we were covering the Knights and the Flames 2 nights ago. But maybe you can tell me if you agree with me or not. Do you think they stand pat regardless of what happens? Or if something really goes south, do you think they start making changes?
I think that you have to stand pat right now. I just don't know. I mean, we'd have to really look and dig down. We would need more time to do that. I mean, it probably don't show it exactly what pieces are worth what picks do you want to get, because in a perfect world, fans can come out here, Cooper, and say, you want a first, you want a second, you want this for – you're not going to get that most likely unless you have stars. Unless you wanted to trade somebody like Lindholm, which is not happening, Kadri, which is not happening. That's how you get firsts, but you're not moving on from those pieces. You're going to be moving on from I'm not going to say Mikael Backlund, but maybe a Mangiapane, a Lewis, a Ruzicka that gets scratched. Because What are they worth? What would you get? And if that's even worth doing?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And my inclination, I'm leaning toward, and again, this major hypothetical. This is if were again an extended losing streak were to take place. You might see some of those complementary pieces moving, and your point is well taken. None of those, as I'm calling them, kind of the cornerstone, the fundamental roster players, right? I think you're going to see them stick around. And no, you're as badly as any fan anywhere, Flames or otherwise, wants to get firsts and seconds back. That's not going to happen when the offer on the table is for Brett Ritchie.
Right.
Respect to Brett Ritchie, but that's not what you're going to get. So, John, my feed is back, and I think I may still be a second or two ahead of you. And I know we're just about to start the third. Why don't you, if you're comfortable, you want to take the beginning of this third, and then we'll switch off at the conclusion?
All right, sounds good. So Nazem Kadri going to go ahead and get this face-off win. Now Calgary is within 2. It's 19:50 left to go in the third. It's a 3-1 score line. It's going to be a right to left here for the Colorado Avalanche as its new hook from a drop from MacKinnon in the middle of the circles. It gets blocked a couple of times. Good defense there by Tanev as immediately the Flames were up against it. And now Devon Toews will play this off the backhand as Mackenzie Weegar tries to get this out, but it's a battle for the puck. It's Nathan MacKinnon off his backhand. He's going to spin right around Nazem Kadri, trying to drop it off in front, but there it is with Tanev as he tries to get a piece of it. Markstrom, just watch this go across the blue pane as it's picked up by Jacob Peltier. So it's the second line immediately out there for Darryl Sutter's squad as they're going to go ahead and get some changes as this will be dropped here for Coleman. And we'll wrap this around the inboards to Alexander Georgiev. 24 shots to 19. Again, it was the latest goal from Tyler Toffoli. Is now it's 3-1 off the power play. It's 25th of the season. Mikko Rantanen and now it's Compher, but the pass was just too far. He would have been all alone on a break. And now in through the traffic as Hanifin goes down with Rodriguez, and now there's some pushing with Andersson down below.
Yeah, a little bit of extracurricular right there. Nothing extreme. Certainly not like we saw between Lucic and McDermott. But yeah, that was a bit of a tie-up right there with Noah Hanifin getting slammed down to the ice. But I don't think either player did anything that was penalty-worthy. Boy, oh boy, on that first shift, before we drop the puck again, I want to say Chris Tanev made a couple of huge defensive plays for Calgary.
He absolutely did. At least 2 or 3, as this is a face-off win for Elias Lindholm as this is spun around the end plate and picked up now by Tyler Toffoli as this is a nice backhanded pass opportunity as Lindholm tried to get it, but it's Mikko Rantanen trying to stick it away. But here's Lindholm trying to keep this in between his skates. This actually bounces toward Dube near the left side of the red line. Toffoli try to find some help as he'll just put this toward an empty side of the red line. As this is picked up middle of the circle is Mikko Rantanen. A little bit of sauce. We'll go back to his defense now with 18-20 left to go in the third. 24 shots to 20. John here with the play-by-play, joined by Cooper Hopkins on the color side. And we're going to switch off at the halfway point of this third as this is picked up across the red line now and then wrapped around. Back to Mangiapane. And we'll gain the entry off the dump, but this will find the stick of Bowen Byram. But here come the Flames on the forecheck as it's Dennis Gilbert. Try to put this around the inboards now. Mangiapane can get to it first. And now Manson with a drop pass off a no-look. And this is picked up by the Avalanche, but a little bit too far as Nikita Zadorov. He's had a really good game for the Flames as he flips this, but this is going to get picked up by Cogliano. So he got hit pretty hard, and this will fall back to Dennis Gilbert on the left side of the red line. It's Zadorov. It's sticked away from him. Great work by Nathan MacKinnon one more time. I've said his name about 8 times, but I don't regret it as this is picked up around the inboards now. Nazem Kadri, nice step through as the Flames able to get possession off the backhand. And Peltier certainly looked like he got tripped, but here's Nathan MacKinnon all the way back on the other end. And this 200-foot game trying to pry this loose as this gets picked up by Valeri Nichushkin. And now Nazem Kadri will collect across the neutral zone as Jonathan Huberdeau watched it go away from him. And this will fall back to Jacob Markstrom. And now the Flames have this with 17:05 left in the third as this is rattled around the inboards by Noah Hanifin. Picked up now by Trevor Lewis off the backhand as they'll cycle it around one more time. Rasmus Andersson tried to get to it as Walker Duehr had this spin around as Lindholm will find it now with Lewis. Lindholm now trying to get around Sam Girard and now Trevor Lewis one more time near the left side of the red line. Lindholm just being pinned there momentarily as Mikko Rantanen trying to use an active stick check to get out of the zone, but this stays with the Flames. A little bit wide there for Dewar. Now Rasmus Andersson will fire one right on him between the circles, and this goes off the red pad of Georgiev as no Flame could actually get to it. And now the Avalanche will clear it down the ice, but it's iced.
Yeah, John, a couple of good opportunities right there. And, yeah, it was Peltier that I thought was tripped. You made that call as well, but the hand did not go up. And it certainly looks like his right skate was either hooked or pushed out from underneath him. So potentially a missed call right there, but let's keep an eye on Peltier. He did a nice job driving the net right there.
I see it right now there from Brad Hunt on Peltier. That was a trip. As Milan Lucic back on the ice, he's getting that Gatorade right now, and he's got some words to say to the other side of the bench. I don't know if we'll get a second fight, but I'm all for it if that's the case, as Backlund ends up winning the draw. Coleman tried to get a piece of it. Good job by Backlund to get a piece of it momentarily again, and this will go back down the ice. So his 88th career NHL fight. Thank you for Sportsnet for that, as you see his big old smile on the graphic. And this goes back for Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov will take his time. As Dennis Gilbert's just going to wait near the left side, as there's a chorus of boos at Ball Arena. They usually do that on the other side when the team takes an extended timeout, and behind their net is Sam Girard will wrap this around. And this will get picked up here by the Avalanche off the backhand entry. It was Dennis Morgan scores! Wow, what a goal!
My jaw is on the floor, John. That's not a player I expected to put the puck in the net tonight, but he put it in like he is Nathan MacKinnon. That was a beautiful move right there. Just goes left to right through three defenders. The Flames had numbers back, and the number 81 Morgan for the Detroit Red Wings, for the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, I'm so flabbergasted. I can't believe he stepped right around. I think it was Nikita Zadorov. Almost put Nikita Zadorov on his backside and burns Markstrom. John, it's 4-1. You have to think that might be the ball game.
Wow, that was an exceptional goal. Dennis Morgan is a former Toronto Maple Leaf. You're telling me you can't find room for that guy, considering? Slap shot the other end, and this is picked up by Chris Tanev trying to hold the blue line as Jonathan Huberdeau. And now the Flames got to get something going here as Peltier. He'll just fire it wide. Jonathan Huberdeau trying to use that big body as it bounced off his hands. He spun around off the forehand, but he didn't have any help with it. This falls back to Tanev in between the circles, saved by Georgiev. And now toward the left side dot. That was Morgan from Manson. And that was just an exceptional goal, as this was iced. He looked like any of the better forwards that you can name.
Morgan went from his own blue line, John. I mean, listen, I know I say this a lot because I have a lot of memories of him doing this, but that was Johnny Gaudreau-esque. He just danced around three defenders, found a space, and put it up where Markstrom couldn't get it. It was that simple. He made it look easy.
6-game point streak ties the season long there for Morgan. He looked really good there. That's a third liner. As this is picked up off the face-off wing on the left side dot, as Hanifin tries to get a piece of it with the help of Backlund. It's Mangiapane now near the right side of the inboards, on the right side red line as he pivots a couple times. He's trying to get around Sam Girard as he falls down. And now Nathan MacKinnon, he got sandwiched by Blake Coleman, and Backlund drops the stick. And now MacKinnon going after Backlund. He wants to get something going. And now there's a bear hug. He wants to go after Backlund. Play's still live, but the camera's going to cut back over there. MacKinnon's incensed.
Yeah, MacKinnon is furious. Boy, I can't believe it, John. He lost his stick and then basically started to tackle Mikael Backlund. Mikael Backlund shrugging, puts his hands up in the air, saying, I'm not sure why we got into that position. Backlund with a clean hit that MacKinnon took issue with. Then MacKinnon, without the stick, goes after number 11 of the Flames, bear hugs him, gets the interference call Mikael Backlund does, with MacKinnon going to the box. But boy, I thought MacKinnon was going to drop the gloves with Backlund right there.
I would certainly say that if he dropped the gloves, Joe Sakic would have to hold his breath, my friend.
Oh, yeah, at bare minimum, Sakic might have to run down the stairs and get his star player off the ice, like a parent coming at school with a kid in detention. Man, but for now, MacKinnon, for Sakic's sake, is safe in the box, a roughing penalty, so he's in at 5:20. And interestingly, Lindholm will get whistled out here, so it's Compher versus Kadri to start this power play.
Well, I know what the scoreline says, but at least, Cooper, we can definitely say when we get toward the end of this game that this game has certainly had a lot of intrigue, and at least we can expect that that's been good on that end. So JT Compher now for Manson as they try to clear this around the inboards. It bounces off of Devon Toews, and now another one of the Avalanche gets knocked down, and another serenade of boos at Ball Arena. So I think we might see something else here with 14:20 left in the third, but still, right now, Calgary's got to concentrate on this power play, try to get back within two. As this goes all the way back to Alexander Georgiev, he almost gets stick lifted toward Toffoli. Excellent job toward the right side boards, and now Rasmus Andersson in the high slot as he's patient. Now for Toffoli, but this pass goes off the back skate of Huberdeau. Huberdeau now off his forehand. I'm not really sure where he was passing there as this gets cleared down the ice here for Markstrom. He'll play it now near the left side faceoff dot, and this will allow an opportunity here for Noah Hanifin. Hanifin off his forehand. He'll try to gain the entry there as Backlund is right back out on the ice after agitating Nathan MacKinnon, and this will get picked up here by Sam Girard, and this gets flipped down the ice one more time. 55 seconds left to go on the power play. John out here with you. Alongside Cooper Hopkins, we're going to switch at the halfway point right now. I go at 13:25 left in this third as Zadorov will wrap this around the end boards, and they'll try to shoot it again off the embankment. Backlund will try to get a piece of it as Logan O'Connor is being worked over. This goes back in the high slot. Hanifin go D to D, and that was a little too slow of a pass as Hanifin's going to have to peel back. Nothing going on right now in Calgary's power play, and they really need it to. It's 25 shots to 21. It's not like they've given Colorado a whole hell of a lot, but when you're getting open in the middle of the slot and getting opportunities, I think those can count as 2-1 opportunities, if you know what I'm saying. So Connor Dewar will try to get a piece of this now. This is wrapped near the left side of the crease. Players are jamming away at it, and Georgiev just holding on to the left side post, but one of the Calgary Flames got knocked down, and the puck never got there. This is Trevor Lewis, as there's some sticks in behind the net, and Dewar will send this across to Tanev as will go D to D. This bounced in between the referee. Another one of the Colorado Avalanche goes down, and it's a tripping against the Flames.
Boy, what is going on in that far corner to Georgiev's right? That was Trevor Lewis. You're right. He will now go to the box with a tripping call, and the Avs fans are into it. The players are getting agitated. That's a perfect word you just used a couple minutes ago, John. And boy, what a wild third period we have as we hit the TV timeout.
Yeah, I will definitely say this. You and I have watched a lot of hockey games, and again, not all the time that I have ESPN Plus, which is always so nice to be able to get these games. I know it's a shameless plug for them, but when it's $100 a year, it's not so bad when you can watch everything. But I've never seen Nathan MacKinnon that upset in a game where I thought he was actually going to drop the gloves.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what the interesting thing is, too, that the player, the opponent that he's frustrated with, Mikael Backlund, generally not in the mix. I mean, he's a tough player. He doesn't get pushed around, but not known necessarily for exceptionally hard checks. I mean, Mikael Backlund's just a solid, responsible forward and is relatively soft-spoken. And as far as I know, well-liked around the league. And Nathan MacKinnon did not like anything about that hit from Backlund that doubled over MacKinnon for a moment or two. And then he went right after him. He did basically everything but drop the mitts. And we'll see if there's any other fallout from that before this game's over.
So it's 25 shots to 21 in favor of Calgary. The hits are even at 17, and Calgary's got the face-off edge 27-23, but the scoreboard says 4-1 as we got 12:36 left to go in the third. It was Dennis Mulligan at the 4:12 mark for Josh Manson, the latest goal. An absolutely beautiful one, as Cooper said. He pretty much went end-to-end and then skated around the defense like it was nothing. Again, if it's Dennis Mulligan, that certainly what makes me scratch my head, but his fifth of the season was as good as anything you're going to see tonight.
Yeah, Nichushkin, Rantanen, Cogliano, MacKinnon, obviously, any one of those players, of course, we'd still be impressed, but a little less surprised. But Mulligan just walks through three Flames who were in relatively good position in their own end, and he just stepped right around them like they were traffic cones, fires it home, and it's 4-1, John.
So we're going to get another draw here, and then when we get a stoppage, I will move it back to Cooper's side as he will finish off the rest of this game here. So it's a defensive zone draw, and it's going to be Compher on one end. It's going to be a Colorado power play. And again, anytime you say those two words together in a sentence, you kind of just hold your breath because you know what they can do. Flames immediately do win this defensive zone draw, though, as this does find Georgiev. And now this will get a chance for the Cerulean and Maroon to get started here as it's Bowen Byram. He's going to play this here from Georgiev. Nathan MacKinnon is out there as this is Compher. Compher will go back to Byram now. And now here's Nathan MacKinnon off the windmill. Play this toward the right wing side. This is put around the end boards and now picked up by the Avalanche. JT Compher to the left side of the red line. Drop it here for Byram. And now it's a chance for Compher. New hook. MacKinnon fakes the slapper. Pass across. Extra puck movement. Markstrom down as he absolutely robbed the Avalanche there. But here they come again. It's MacKinnon near the right side dot. And now the high slot picked up here. MacKinnon makes the pass from the left dot. Byram fakes the slapper there for Rantanen, but a good steal. I don't know if this is going to get around MacKinnon, but it did take a nice hop off the glass. And this will allow Byram to collect near the Avalanche logo. They got about 50 seconds in which to work with on the power play. This is Mikael Rantanen. He'll drop it here for Nathan MacKinnon in the high slot. Good work there by Mangiapane, but it's still dangerous as this was a good active stick check there by the Flames. They knocked it away. That was Dillon Dube. This is Mangiapane in between the circles as Dube tried to get a piece off the right glove hand of Georgiev. And now this will go with the Avs. Nathan MacKinnon down the left wing. He's in partial flight right now, so pass this back or wrapped around the inboards. This goes off the wall and then cleared down the ice for Georgiev. Will put it with the goal stick, and now he'll leave it for Samuel Girard. 10:50 left to go in this third. It's a 4-1 advantage for the Avs. We're at Bowl Arena right now, watching this one on the Sportsnet feed on ESPN+. As new hook. Good entry off the backhand. Still able to stay with it, though. And Toffoli will finally collect. Evan Rodriguez will put this around the inboards. And now Markstrom has to play the pass to the D, as this will be flipped by Trevor Lewis as he's just getting on the box. This will be a chance now for Coleman. Coleman, he'll spin. And this gets taken away from him as Sam Girard got ran into by Trevor Lewis. But Trevor Lewis got reverse hit. And now a penalty against the Flames again.
Yep, and this is a tough one for this player to stomach. It's Nazem Kadri who's going to go to the box. Penalty against his former team. And boy, there's been some more physicality in this third period. I think this is a classic example of a Flames team sort of realizing they may be out of it in regulation here. Girard gets the body check. That was Trevor Lewis who threw a really nice shoulder into him. And then Kadri with a bit of an unlucky play there, going for the poke check, trying to be aggressive in the offensive zone. He brings down one of the Avs, and he will go for tripping. 2 minutes. And this power play, the Avs are 1 for 3 tonight. John, I actually might just pick it up right now if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because we do have 10-12 to go, so I owe you 12 seconds of play-by-play at some point, my friend. But right now we are hitting the 10-minute mark exactly as Mikael Backlund shovels one toward Georgiev, and a nice shot on right there while short-handed. So Mikael Backlund out there, he's getting pushed around, and now he throws a huge body check, and sticks and gloves are down, and there is something going on along the near boards. Uyghur's got his gloves off. Now he's getting tied up with MacKinnon, John, and Backlund is pinned down by Compher. Lindholm trying to pull his fellow Swede off the ice, and the referees have calmed things for the moment, but it's getting wild, my friend.
So I know we're talking about Backlund again. He's saying what's going on, and Uyghur, he has some words. Man, Nathan MacKinnon is really upset in this game. Even Valeri Nichushkin wants to go.
John, I am surprised at the frustration with Mikael Backlund, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Calgary Flames fan. I thought that Mikael Backlund made a standard clean hit against Nathan MacKinnon several minutes ago in this period. I'm not sure what the extra frustration or anger is about what that play was, but it exists. And he threw a shoulder into Byram, but that was a clean play along the boards. And then Backlund retaliates. There's Rantanen starts to face wash him, tries to pull. Boy, it's a good thing that Backlund has the fight strap hooked up. Rantanen was trying to pull that thing up over his head.
Man, and Mackenzie Uyghur cleaned out Nichushkin, and then he had Nathan MacKinnon pretty much in a chokehold.
This is just a wild turn of events right there. The last one, truly one of the last players on the Calgary Flames that I would think would be mixed up with this is Mikael Backlund, but he is right at the center of all of it. And Chris Tanev was in there as well. I thought Compher was holding Backlund down. He actually tackled Tanev down to the ice. So and now Mangiapane and Toffoli are screaming, you don't need a lip reader for this. F off to someone on the Avs. And I think Backlund might be going to the box here. John, we have a lot to sort out.
I think we do. I will say this in all honesty. I'm glad we covered this game regardless of the result. You are seeing the intensity between these two teams that honestly got spearheaded for a little bit in the second, but the way that it changed in the third, this just took a whole turn that we couldn't have ever predicted.
Oh my goodness, John, this is just a wild one. Now we're cutting the Sportsnet feed to Darryl Sutter. He's using colorful language, and we just saw Backlund take a seat next to Kadri in the box, and Backlund continues to shrug and look completely confused as to why he's being targeted by essentially now the entire Avs team. And replays now on the Sportsnet side of MacKinnon going after Backlund after that initial hit. Lindholm involved, Nichushkin involved, Rantanen involved, Backlund getting slammed down to the ice, Tanev, Weegar, Kadri in the box, now Backlund in the box. John, this is, I keep saying it, but it's true, absolutely wild out here.
Yeah, it is. So we should have a fun final 10 minutes regardless of the result here. I think everybody at Ball Arena, I'm jealous for anyone that has a ticket right now because this game has certainly taken a turn.
It has, and Mackenzie Weegar had a couple minutes there to collect his belongings. He's got his mitts back on and has his stick back in his hands. So after we've all sorted it out, or sorted it all out, I should say, 90 seconds left on this power play for the Colorado Avalanche. 9:40 left on the clock. Here's a turnover, a shot, and it's just wide, John. I thought that was posted in. I'm not sure who just made the shot for the Flames. It might have been Mangiapane, but he was just wide of that left post. So it stays 4-1, almost a shorty right there for the visiting Calgary Flames. 63 seconds to go here in the man advantage. And skating through the neutral zone with that extra speed, you can't miss him. It's Nathan MacKinnon, so he carried that puck in. Now it's in the near corner, picked up though by Rasmus Andersson. A clearing attempt is held at the near point. Now it's at the far half boards. The Avalanche have it in the trapezoid. Now they have it back to the far wall, back to the blue line. The Avs now cycling beautifully. Flames out of position. Puck is held in right there. It deflects off of his stick. I think that might have been Cogliano with it. It's held in either way. They'll make that Nichushkin, who had that puck bounce off the stick. Now from the high slot between the circles. Flames set it down. The Avs get it down low. 20 seconds to go here in the power play. 4-1 Colorado. 8:35 to go in this third period. Now it's sent across into the crease area, and it bounces off of a nicely placed Flames stick and sent down all the way for the clear. Gorgiev comes out of his net to settle it right there for Girard. So Girard's going to skate this one forward. He has it at the red line. Now it's picked up. Back pass is missed, and so the Flames will have a chance to break out here as Kadri's out of the box, and we're back to 5-on-5 with 8:10 to go in the third period. There's another check. The Flames throwing bodies now. Things are getting messy again, but no extracurriculars. Play will continue here. Looked like the Avs were just offside, but again, play keeps going. So inside 8 minutes to go. The Flames trying to clear their own end. Now Elias Lindholm, not known for his body checking, he gets physical. Boy, things are really ramping up here, John. We're going to have plenty to talk about regardless of the final score. Nazem Kadri, he has stayed out on the ice, and he has the puck checked away. Chasing down for the puck right there is the Avs' Alex Newhook. That was an absolutely beautiful, looked like a video game poke check. He almost created a breakaway for himself. So now, Nikita Zadorov, who likes to moonlight as a forward, he takes the puck, has it dispossessed. Now, without a stick, I think it's Dennis Gilbert. John, you're getting everything. It's a classic Ott and Hopkins hockey game. It sticks on the ice, gloves, players, but right now the Flames have the puck. They also have 27 shots tonight, just 21 for Colorado, but they're not worried about that as they have the lead at 4-1. So now the Flames will carry this through the neutral zone. Boy, the long Ritchie found an extra gear right there, but I think that is Walker Duehr, his line mate, going just offside. And I'm going to take a deep breath because we have a lot going on, John.
This game's starting to get off the rails a little bit. When I get a chance to see some of these other players, as Mangiapane just missed everything said, Lehkonen and Toffoli getting tied up, that could have certainly been called against Artturi Lehkonen. And then, we've had hits all over the place. I don't know what's happened over the last few, but the rest of this game is going to be good, so don't go anywhere.
Oh, don't go anywhere. That is the understatement of the night. And you know what we just caught, or at least I did on that replay where you made a good call about Tyler Toffoli getting tied up. Markstrom takes a little shot right there with the player in his crease. So even the Flames netminder getting involved. So now, what is it going to be? Gorgiev's turn? Is he going to come out here and slash somebody? We got to keep our eyes peeled. It's insane.
If we see a goalie fight, then I will definitely lose it at this point. But I don't know what else we can get. I definitely think that there's going to be something. I maybe even say after the whistles, after this game is done, I'm not going to say center ice fight, but I think we're going to have some more things left to say because we've already seen the colorful language and all the other stuff, but it's matriculated into a lot more. And if I'm Mikael Backlund, I just got to be wondering what the hell's going on right now.
Yeah, I guess Nathan MacKinnon took exception to the hit. It certainly did not look to me like Mikael Backlund was making any attempt to make an illegal hit. It was not up high. He contacted his shoulder with the upper torso. Their heads didn't clash. The elbows were down. There was no slew footing, no tripping attempt. He didn't even use his stick really. But I guess the Avs are just rallying behind their best player out there, and that's understandable to a certain extent. But boy, it's turning into a WWE Royal Rumble almost.
No, it really is. I mean, we're not even being hyperbolic when you go to say that. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Again, the fight that we had in between McDermott and Lucic, ever since then, this game has really taken on a life of its own as it's sold out right now at Ball Arena. Although I do see some Flames fans, but everybody's loving this game right now.
Yes, they are. There's actually not much game left with under 7 minutes to go here. The puck, after the face-off, following the TV timeout, slid all the way to Georgiev. He touched it with the big paddle and left it for one of his teammates right there. But now it's bounced into neutral ice, and once again will be all the way back down into the trapezoid behind Georgiev. So the Flames trying to hold the zone here. They can't do so with Rasmus Andersson on the ice. He does collect the puck eventually near his own blue line, and the Flames will come away with it. They send a stretch pass forward. There's a shot from well outside by Milan Lucic, but it bounced off of a leg. He takes a bit of a hit right there, and there's a slapper that goes just wide of Georgiev's net. Now Dennis Gilbert feeds it back to the blue line. Down low in the near corner is Mikael Backlund. Puck bounces off of a leg, and it's all the way back out near the penalty boxes at center ice. So the Flames possessing now for the most part. Mikael Backlund's going to try to skate through the neutral zone. He gets it into the O zone with the shot right on that's sort of a handcuffed big number 40 in the Colorado net. Georgiev falls forward to cover up, and Mikael Backlund looks skyward. I think he realizes he just had an opportunity.
He did, and the one thing I guess that kind of blew my mind is you skate into the zone, he was serenaded with a chorus of boos right now at Ball Arena.
It's mind-boggling to me. Mikael Backlund, of all play, it's not Milan Lucic, it's not Chris Tanev, who's not afraid to get in the mix, it's Zadorov, former Colorado Avalanche man. No, it's the soft-spoken, sweet-hearted Mikael Backlund, who is the villain tonight, apparently. And he is in the face-off circle right now, and that one is sort of an even draw. That one kind of bounced to the near corner. Eventually is taken away by Calgary, but they're all the way back at their own blue line, so they'll keep retreating right here and try to send this one up through the neutral zone. That one's chipped along by the bread man for the Flames, number 88, Andrew Mangiapane. It bounces off of the skate. It's at the far boards, picked up by Weegar. They'll leave it right there with 5:35 to play. There's a shot down low. One of the Avs is down on the ice, and he is covering up the puck. It squirts free and will eventually kind of flutter back out toward the center red line. Weegar peels back, and he finds the puck and will chip this one in. It deflected off of a player near the blue line, so no icing. And here come the Avs with speed the other way. 29 shots, Calgary, 21, Colorado. And they have it at the near circle. Send it behind to the trapezoid behind Markstrom. I think that's MacKinnon with it. He's going to drop this one off to the near corner. Now it's fired out from distance. Boy, somebody went down again in the high slot. Bodies everywhere, but the players are back up and skating now. And here comes Jacob Pelche. Jacob Pelche, another good poke check right there. I think it might have been Manson having a little trouble getting the number right now, but I'll keep my eyes peeled and try to get the specifics in there for you. Right now, can't miss number 55, Noah Hanifin for the Flames. He gets it over to his teammate Elias Lindholm. Inside 5 minutes now, 4-1 Colorado. They've really dominated this whole game as Tyler Toffoli chases the puck down in the near corner on the Colorado Avalanche side. Puck slides to the near boards, and a couple players go down. Fans on their feet looking for a penalty. They're not going to get one, though. The refs are letting them play at the moment. Puck's chipped down low. Lindholm, he will carry. Tries to stick out that backside and hold possession. Is able to do so. The puck sent back his way after it bounced toward the blue line. He tries to peel back, spinning in the near corner, and it will go to Dennis Gilbert. His pass to Nikita Zadorov is too far, but Toffoli will skate it down, get it back to Lindholm. Now in the corner for the Avs that's Devon Toews with it. And it's loose. Players losing their sticks. People get mixed up again. Play continues. Now just 3:50 to go in this game. Looks like the Flames are going to run out of time here, and the Avs will take the puck as Walker Dewar put some pressure on the forecheck, but he is severely outnumbered as the Avs will get the change, and they will also get the puck in the O-zone. Here comes Compher, backhands this one out in front, but doesn't have a teammate waiting. That was right in the slot. The Flames were just able to knock it back to the neutral zone. 3 minutes, 25 seconds to go here. Cooper Hopkins on the play-by-play, wrapping up this game with John Ott. The slapper is behind Markstrom. He slid out of position, but the slap shot was wide to the right post. So the Flames trying to get anything they can here, even just a moral victory in a game that looks like it's going to be 2 points for Colorado and a big old goose egg for the visiting Calgary Flames. And there's Blake Coleman. He picks up the puck, although the numbers are back for Colorado, so he's not able to create a shot attempt for himself. And Mikael Backlund's back on the ice. I have my volume turned down, but I'm sure he is receiving some more boos from these Ball Arena fans as the Flames will go for a change inside 3 minutes. Some extended action here, not a lot of breaks over the past 6 or 7 minutes of this third period. And here come the Avalanche with possession at neutral ice. It's chipped down low. Noah Hanifin's back out. He will send this one along for Rasmus Andersson. Rasmus Andersson sends it along the boards. And almost heading down, almost slipping down there, I should say, is Nazem Kadri. He sort of pirouettes to keep his balance. And, of course, moments after I say it, we finally get a stoppage with 2:21 to go, John. Oof, I'm trying to catch my breath here. I'm still expecting more extracurriculars, aren't you?
I thought maybe 3 minutes before this, around the 5:15 marker, when Tyler Toffoli was in behind the net, he fell down, and then he took exception to falling down, and it wasn't called. It could have been called against Calgary. He took a couple swipes at the D side of Bowen Byram's legs. He took 3 chops. That wasn't called. That incensed the crowd one more time, but now we finally had a commercial break with just over 2 minutes left, so yeah, certainly we'll have to make a mention in our post game just about how much this game has changed as far as the physicality and the nastiness.
You know, and since we do have the TV timeout here, the commercials are still rolling. I'm just curious, and maybe it's just enough time for an initial thought from you. What do you think this means? This has been a game really unlike any of the Calgary Flames games that we've covered this year. I mean, you referenced their first game of the year against these Avalanche, where the Flames came away with a 5-1 victory. But beyond that, and the early run of play that the Calgary Flames had, a lot of times we've seen them establish some dominance early and then watch it fade late, where they get a lead, and just like against the Golden Knights, they give up a goal, they give up a goal, they give up the lead, and basically they give up the win. Tonight, the Avalanche have really put their foot on the Flames' necks from early on. The Flames have been battling back. Now they've had to turn up the physicality. I'm not sure if there are positives to take away from this kind of game for the Flames, or is this just a beatdown?
I don't know if I can say beatdown, because when I think about, well, with the exception of the Lucic McDermott thing, I'm going to keep going back to that, but when I saw that, then I saw an actual pushback from the Flames. If you're going to go down, at least go down trying to fire some stuff at the net and get a little bit of push around. I've seen some chances, but the Avalanche, again, I think clearly to me, they're just a better team. But the Flames need to take some of this energy that's kind of galvanized them in the back end in this loss and move it into the games against Boston that's upcoming, in Toronto. They have to do something with it.
Yes, they do. Yeah, that's my thought as well, John. And Nazem Kadri, with the face-off upcoming here at center ice, is waved out of the circle. So Huberdeau is going to take a face-off. Belchier to his right wing. And I think the camera people for Sportsnet are expecting some more from Nathan MacKinnon, as we got a close-up shot of him on the bench before we got to this face-off. So a momentary pause here, and the referee will get down low, drop this puck, and a nice clean win right there for Colorado. So just about 2 minutes to go, 2 minutes and change as the puck's floated down. No icing, though it looked like it could have been one. It's picked up by Andersson and left for Jonathan Huberdeau. He skates this one through his own slot, turns it over, and there is a point-blank shot turned aside by Markstrom. I do not know what Jonathan Huberdeau was thinking right there.
Man.
He tried to skate it through his own slot, turns it over, and I don't know how it's not 5-1 right now.
So Nieto's going to get this one right off the steal as he tries to play it in between his legs. You're down 3 goals. If you want to go ahead and get some more ice time for Darryl Sutter, that is not how you do things.
Boy, that is the A1 rule. Just do not do that in your own end, in your own slot. And luckily, Markstrom bails him out. But boy, John, unfortunately, this has been another game where Huberdeau, by and large, has looked lost. A couple of confusing pass choices, and then a really just a silly play right there. So we'll move on from that for the moment. And the puck is in the Flames' end, but the Flames do have possession. That's going to be 95 seconds to go here. 29 shots to 22. Flames in the lead on the shot board, but behind by a good margin on the scoreboard by a score of 4-1. So here come the Avalanche to the neutral zone. Stretch pass is deflected off of a stick, and it'll be picked up there by Dennis Gilbert, third pairing D lineman. And D lineman talking like football, no, a defenseman for the Calgary Flames. And the puck is now back to the center red line, picked up by Zadorov. Zadorov will scan the scene and send this one at distance, and no icing there as the puck did deflect off of a skate. The Flames will have it in the Colorado end. So a little ozone time for the Flames here. Can they establish something? And inside a minute, even get one more just to bring themselves a little belief as they move on to play one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of hockey in their upcoming contest that John just referenced. So 42 seconds to go here. Come the Avs with speed and space. And there is a shot right on. Markstrom was down, but the shot from inside went wide. And John, I'm trying to get a number there. I apologize. I think that might have been Lehkonen, who was really close. And again, probably should have made it 5-1. But it's all academic at this point, sir, as it is just 20 seconds to go. And Georgiev has to make a diving save. And I think that puck went up into the netting. So big old number 40 is called into action in a major way in the dying seconds, and he answers the call.
So on one end, it was Dennis Morgan trying to get his second, and then a nice passing play in between Mangiapane there, and that had to force Georgiev to do something if it didn't get a part of the bar and then go up and on a play there at 18:08, 18:8.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It may have glanced off the bar, and it may have glanced off his shoulder. Either way, he put himself in the right spot, diving across the mouth of goal, and makes a nice move right there. And the Flames have been so close. We're getting during this brief icing stoppage, some replays of how close the Flames have been tonight. But that's the story of their season, John. Close just isn't good enough, especially when you're playing Colorado. And now there is another stoppage as they cut away from that highlight package. No, excuse me, they just had to run the clock. And that clock, in fact, will run out, John. 4-1 will be your final as the puck ends up on Rasmus Andersson's stick. And the Flames will skate away with their tails between their legs. A pretty dominant victory from start to finish for the Cerulean and Maroon, I should say. I said Cerulean and Blue when we opened this game. The Colorado Avalanche, just a nice win for them, coming off a back-to-back, and they look very, very strong moving forward.
Yep, and now, man, when I see Brad Treliving there, I think that's a face that kind of tells me everything of what we just talked about in that second intermission, because I understand it's the Colorado Avalanche, and I'm not going to try to wade too much into it, but they've just outscored the Winnipeg Jets and the Calgary Flames in the last two games, 9-2. I think we have a meeting on the ice, though, before we actually finish this off.
We do. Yeah, and I do want to get your thoughts. It seems to be relatively calm, but we have MacKinnon with Backlund, Mangiapane in there as well. Is this a meeting, or did something happen with there seemed to be an issue with the clock as we were closing things out?
Yeah.
And I will say, for the listeners, all the players are still on the benches. So, in fact, the play had been whistled down. Now, 11.6 put back on the third period clock here. And for some reason, even though they had attempted a face-off, Mikael Backlund is waved out of the circle. So he now stands to the right of, I believe, Elias Lindholm. No, make that Blake Coleman. And John, just a confusing end to a wild period here. The referees are over at the scorer's table. I think they're trying to repair the clock or fix the time again. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, because when we went back into the defensive end, Byram had the puck. The clock didn't move for about 5 seconds, and that's what I think Brad Treliving was even looking at. I see him shaking his head. So they're going to probably put this at around 10 seconds when initially should have started. So we get an offensive zone draw for Calgary.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, there was 9.6 on the clock when that draw was won ultimately by the Avalanche. So I can correct myself from earlier. We thought the puck ended, or the game ended with the puck on Rasmus Andersson's stick. This time it ends up on the stick of, I believe, Cogliano. And either way, the Avalanche are now celebrating for a second time due to the clock malfunctions with Georgiev in the crease. So it's a big 4-1 win for the Avs. And, John, these are two teams on different paths right now. The Flames just can't seem to find any traction, can't really find another rung on the ladder to climb closer to a playoff spot. And the Avalanche getting closer and closer to making your prediction come to life, my friend.
So now that we think of it, it's going to be the Avalanche at 71 points. So that's going to knock out the Minnesota Wild, at least get them in the second spot in the Central. And the Calgary Flames will stay at 66 points with 60 games played. And again, this is not one of those games that was just a 2-point swing. This is a 4-point swing. This is an opportunity for the Flames to gain ground on the Avalanche for that second wildcard spot. And now with Boston and Toronto upcoming next week, you talked about it last week, saying it could be a potential 5-game losing streak in there. We didn't want to go down that alley. I know we talked about some of the stuff in the second intermission, but Calgary's got to pick it back up very quickly here.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of runway, and what I find interesting too, and this is of course on my radar just because of my background and hometown, etc. I think, let's see if I can make a clear point here. I think if I'm doing the math correctly, so this win will put the Avalanche at 71 points, which actually, John, tell me if I'm right here. Does this leapfrog Colorado over the Seattle Kraken, who now, did the Kraken sit in the wild card 2 spot?
Here, that's my question now that I have to look at. So I know that the Wild are out, so they're going to have a central spot at this point. So the Kraken have 70 and the Wild had 70. So yeah, that's going to all depend on the season series between Seattle and Minnesota as far as who stays in.
Right. So yeah, we're definitely down to splitting hairs here. But either way, that's another narrative, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds here because we're talking Avs and Flames. But, the Kraken season is changing, perhaps not in the most positive way for them as they try to hold on and come down the stretch here and make the playoffs for the first time in just their second season. But the Flames, this is what's interesting. They're still so close to it, John, but doesn't it feel like, based on what you've seen from them recently, that they also just feel simultaneously so far away from really contending for those last 2 spots?
They do, only because in the situation from what we talked about, it's not because of the point totals. It's not what you see when you look in the box scores. It's what you see when you look at it with your eyes. When you're watching the game, when you're seeing the plays that are coming down the ice. We saw tonight with the Avalanche, and again, I'm going to get back to this point in a minute, as Rope Hint scored the shootout winning goal. So it's a big 2 points for Dallas Stars, just 1 for the Golden Knights tonight as the final game wrapped up. But I say that because the plays that are made, when the Avalanche got down the ice, it was 7, 8, 9, 10 passes, and I mean that wholeheartedly before they end up getting shots, getting in the slot, making chances. For the Flames, there just wasn't a lot of that tonight. I know that we talk about that during some of the times in our games, but those are the types of goals that you have to have, because when you're playing against Linus Ullmark possibly on the Tuesday, who could probably win the Vezina, if you're not getting some chances in front of him where either he can't see it or you're making a spectacular play to force him to make a save, probably not going to get too many goals against Boston. And Toronto's that same kind of way with the lead forward. So that's why I say what I do.
Yeah, and I love that assessment, and it's the right one. It's the smart one, and it's one that I know, and we all know that the Flames know that. I mean, if you were to say that in the room to Calgary, they would all look at you and go, yeah, John, we know. We know it's good. But now, I'm not saying that you're not making a smart observation. The reason why I come at it from that angle is because it just becomes, as time and each of these games falls off the calendar, right? Everyone gets a big red X through it. Another game the Flames get 1 point when they should have had 2. None when they could have had 1, or, fill in the blank. They don't seem to have the ability as a unit to come together, and I know I've said this in different ways in different games we've covered. They don't seem to have the ability as a unit to put themselves in the positions necessary that the Avalanche were, by contrast tonight, able to do consistently to put one another in positions to make dangerous offensive opportunities turn into goals. I mean, they can't even get started on the first half of that a lot of times. They can't even get the passes going. It's the decision making, John. And when you're playing teams the likes of Boston and Toronto, I don't know, my friend. Good luck. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but one that I think that we're going to have to swallow here pretty soon because it's just what Calgary does.
Yeah, when you look at it the other way now, it's 13-2-2 for the Avalanche in their recent stretch, and that's put them now like second in the Central. But if it wasn't for that stretch, I know injuries and all that stuff aside, I mean, they wouldn't even be in the playoffs right now. And even with all the injuries, I think you would give Colorado a free pass if that was a situation. But look, they're rising above it on the other end. And when Calgary needs to be able to rise above and find that energy, yeah, they found that in the back half of this game, but they were zombie-like for the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is true. And we saw some chances that were just missed. You know, you think about the way the game can turn, and I don't know if I've ever been in this position before to say this because it almost feels like an excuse. But the Flames have also just been the victims of bad luck throughout this year. Think about, John, even in the past 2 games that we've covered, so we're talking 6 periods, how many crossbars? We're talking Rasmus Andersson to the crossbar. Andrew Mangiapane has Georgiev down and out. And he makes a tough play there. He's trying to go sort of blind with a backhand shot, but he's in close, and he rings it off the post an inch the other way, and the Flames are within a goal. Who knows if they're able to tie that game and change the outcome. And that's been a big story this year, too. They've just been around the net, around the goal. The opportunities come and go, and they don't ever seem to be converted at the rate that they have to be if you want to be a playoff not even performer, but just a contender. And they're still on the outside looking in. It's tough to see realistically with the games they have coming up how they're going to change their fate. They're going to need some help from teams above them, and they're also going to have to play above the level that they have for so much of this year.
I know I don't want to, but I just want to close this out because I just want to go ahead and say this. With the Jonathan Huberdeau play that we saw toward the end of the third period when he tried to play it in between his legs, in behind Markstrom's net and got pickpocketed. If I'm Darryl Sutter and I'm Jonathan Huberdeau, I can't imagine that's going to be an easy night tonight.
No, I don't think so. I think that his agent can say whatever he wants, but Darryl Sutter has every right, as you just alluded to. Darryl Sutter has every right to, okay, let me put it this way and be succinct. That's the kind of play that gets you benched if you're in the WHL or if you're a college hockey player or if you are a midget AAA player. That you can't do that. You just play, and that's John. It's one of the best players in the league who just did that at a crucial time of game when, is it realistic that the Flames are going to come back in that contest? No. But when you're playing like that, you're cementing the reality that you're not coming back in that contest, and you left your goaltender just out to dry. And Markstrom definitely needs credit for that. He makes a huge save from a shot that came from 4 feet out.
I'm glad that you mentioned that and used that word because I was going to say bench, and I was wondering if you're going to call me blasphemous for saying that because in one reality, you can't bench Jonathan Huberdeau because Calgary needs the offense, which I know he hasn't really supplied all that at the same time. But that's a bad situation to be in because when you're making those kind of plays, I think you just said on the back half of it, I think that signals to me that you kind of just given up on the game. And you don't want to see that, especially from a player that is just going to have an 8-year extension kick in. So it doesn't really bring the warm and snuggly feelings in. And speaking of that, it is going to be, let me make sure that I get my days correct. And oh boy, I don't know if I'm going to cover this on the Tuesday because I know we said this before in the last couple, but you know what, Cooper, I'm glad that we did tonight because this brought a lot of intrigue there. Even for just to watch the show for the Colorado Avalanche, I was thoroughly entertained from what we saw. But Tuesday at 9 Eastern is Boston at the Saddle Dome, and then Toronto, and then Minnesota, Dallas, and Minnesota. So the next 3 games will be at the Saddle Dome, Boston, Toronto, Minnesota this week. So we'll see what games that we cover, and this better be a situation where we talked about it last week, where you wanted to get maybe 3-4 points in the first 3 game stretch. You might only get 1 in the sense of Vegas, Colorado, and then Boston on Tuesday.
Yeah, and the way the math shakes out, just hearing you describe it, you know what? As unrealistic as it might sound, based on the way the Flames have been playing, I think you need 4. I think you need to get to the 70-point mark, and it has to happen within the next home stretch. And think about how steep that hill is. You just said it. The Bruins, the Maple Leafs, and then a very solid and hard fighting Minnesota Wild team. You'd like to think let's just put, like you said earlier, let's put the rose-colored glasses on. Let's just say, okay, sake argument, Flames beat the Wild. Okay, they get their 2 points there. So then what? Then you're at least having to take the Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs to overtime to do what the Flames love to do the most, which is lose in extra time. So then you get 4 points out of it. Or you have to beat one of those 2 teams outright, the Boston Bruins or the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's not a small task. So I'm curious. I'm not just saying this to try to get us off the broadcast. I'm just truly curious. I won't be able to jump in on Tuesday night, but I'm curious what's on your radar, whether it's the Wings or other marquee matchups. What are you looking at for your schedule, my friend? Because I don't want you to have to be shackled to the Calgary Flames for the rest of this year and just hobble along with them. What else should we be looking at to potentially cover in the coming weeks and days?
All right, so we can mark off Tuesday then. No, I figure that we'll get either Toronto or Minnesota. At least we'll get one more this week, because this week will be the last week that I'm actually good to go for the whole week. The following week I'll have back-to-back Sharks assignments on Saturday and Sunday for the following week, and also a dentist appointment mixed in. So my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be completely gone the following week. So this will be our next full week to go after it, minus the Tuesday. So we'll probably get at least one Calgary game, and then I'll just pencil it in and see if we get maybe a Red Wings contest at that point, because I know after the pair of Ottawa games, I think there's going to be another big one upcoming for them this week.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Yeah, you were a busy man, my friend. You gotta get those opportunities. I'm excited to tune into some more of your Sharks coverage, and best of luck at the dentist, pal. It's not some people fear it. Not for me. I hope the damage isn't too bad. I hope it's a smooth ride for you.
When you do your homework beforehand, visiting the dentist not so bad. That's what I always tell to everybody.
Good man. I like that. That is a classic John. Leave it to the man with 4 eyes, who at least looks smart. That's a smart recommendation. Listen, I'm so thrilled we could do this tonight. Again, that final, as much as I hate to say it, 4-1 Colorado Avalanche take care of the Flames in Denver. So yeah, we will be back this week, and we'll certainly be in touch. I think the game against the Bruins is going to be very telling, as every game will be for Calgary moving forward. And we'll cover either a big classic Canadian matchup with the Leafs against the Flames, or we'll take on the Western Conference matchup between the Wild and the Flames.
All right, sounds good. We'll be in touch. Talk to everybody next week.
All right, see ya.
See you. So I want to get to these from Joe Rogan before I sign off. So he says, I've been trying to get the Flames on a win for a while now. I missed the Arizona game, win in regulation. I have every team to win for the Cup with $2 tickets, but they'll also be paying an extra $2. Flames are now my lowest paying ticket right now, $12.50 to 1, about 25 to 1, but I need them to win a game before I can bump them up. Calgary's taken forever. I could almost just forget about them, but if they won the Cup, I'd get burnt hard. Well, here's the situation there, Joe, on the side of it, if you're still in here. I don't think, and I could tell Cooper Hopkins this, again, if he was still here for that, I don't think he'd be mad at me. He was saying, I'm not going to have to worry about that point. I don't think they're going to get in the playoffs at this point, because as we've said, when we look at that schedule side upcoming here for Calgary, and I'll just flip this back up, this week alone, I'm just going to make sure I get my dates correct. So this is already through the 4th. So this week alone, it's going to be Boston, Toronto, and Minnesota at the Saddle Dome. So 3 home games, Boston, Toronto, Minnesota, 3 playoff teams, and then Dallas and Minnesota after that on the road. Still the playoff teams. You got 2 against Minnesota. You're going to turn those games into must-wins. because you didn't get a chance to get that done tonight. I appreciate the comment, Grayson. Alongside Cooper, it was fun tonight. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. So I'd go ahead and move that around. But Cooper nailed it toward the beginning of this week. In between Boston, Toronto, Minnesota, this week is going to be the final week. If they don't get 2 out of the next 3, I think it's done. Fallon says Calgary has a tough schedule for the next few games. I don't have too much faith in the Flames. I don't think he can. In a situation that we saw the first 30 minutes of this contest, I said the word zombie-like. I think it was fair to say they were sleepwalking through this contest. And you had Nathan MacKinnon with a miraculous goal. You had Dennis Mulligan with a goal late in the third period where he looked like any forward in the NHL that you want to name, even if you want to throw Connor McDavid out there. Dennis Mulligan looked like Connor McDavid in the third period for that goal. So, yeah, it's going to be very tough, and Calgary doesn't have the games in hand to be able to get in. You know what it is? In the grand scheme of things, even when I mentioned a couple wins against Minnesota, let's say what they split. Then this week, if they split, you're having to talking about stealing a game against Boston or Toronto. Can you honestly say that that's going to happen at this point? No. And even with Markstrom and Vladar, they're both at an 80 save percentage. I think that's gone south for Markstrom in this game. Vladar had back-to-back starts in which they won one of them against Arizona. But when you're playing against these playoff competition, if you don't get the points that you need to get, you're going to put yourself on the back foot. And there's not a lot of season left to go. I've got about 24 games left to go in the Flame season. So it's going to get dicey, and I don't think it's going to happen. So when we come back, he says he's not going to be available on Tuesday. So Cooper Hopkins and I won't be available on Tuesday. I usually cover games on Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to get my schedule punched in for tomorrow, so that way we can get it going for the week. And this will be my last full week of broadcasts. So let me just reiterate like this before I go. So Monday will be the 27th. So through the 27th and the 4th, that's what you do Monday through Saturday. This will be my last full week because next week I have a couple assignments for the Waterford Sharks here locally for semi-pro play-by-play, both on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm not going to be available Friday, Saturday, or Sunday the following week. So that'll cut down some stuff. So besides for Cooper and I not being here on Tuesday, I should be here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday again for next week per usual. As long as everything else is good and I'm not feeling sick. I think I just got a little bit allergic from the dog the other day, and I was not feeling so good yesterday. Today I'm feeling much better. So hopefully it doesn't spell COVID because I'm already still within the 90 days of hopefully not being able to get it again. You know, that was through Christmas time. So hopefully that's all passed. So I will talk to you guys probably Monday night, and we'll get my schedule and everything else punched in. I'll get it posted on YouTube, but if you follow John Ryan out on Facebook and Twitter, you see my schedule. And also, if you guys have any, I know I cover a lot of hockey. That's basically what I am covering between baseball, hockey, basketball, and the college affiliate stuff. But if you have any games you want me to cover on the ESPN Plus site for hockey site, I'll be more than happy to do so. So I will talk to you guys next week. Peace.